Oh, that's weird. Your double camera thing is incredibly strange. So what have you got going on there?
Sorry, it's just.
Oh, it's so weird.
Well, I got this new camera, and then I was just checking out what my old camera looked like compared to it.
Right. Right.
And then you went live.
Like, I couldn't miss out on showing people that. I just couldn't.
But it does look a lot. So this reddish one is the old one, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, so Random Origins has subscribed again. That's 11 months of Random Origins subscribing to us. It's the time again. We gotta get one of these, a couple of these, and then a couple of those.
And I'm like,
And then
Oh, yeah. You get one of those as well. Oh, you got his glasses on. He's already got them. And I just want to say thanks to everybody else who's there and currently watching as well. We've got Desmarius, Random Origins, Kalan Darklaw, who is stoked that they managed to catch us at the start of the session for once, which is great. Terrestrial Starfish as well, of course. And hopefully we'll have a few more make themselves known as we start talking. We're just going to, next week is the start of the Curse of Strahd. So this week we didn't quite... If everyone was available, we would have started this week, but people weren't available. So we thought, let's just get together and have a chat, because there are a few things that we just wanted to sort of chat about anyway. We've done some cool things this week. Joe has started some designing on some new pixel art for a shirt, and that is looking incredibly cool. Incredibly cool. And if you've been following us on Twitter or Facebook, you would have seen a work in progress of the new intro that I've been getting for the Curse of Strahd as well, which includes an awesome new kind of Ravenloft style logo by Shannon, who's put that together. So,
so good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it's so cool. I want to make it a keyring. Like, if we could find out how to make that a keyring, I'd be so happy.
That would be really cool. Like, actually
have that.
Like with the metal and everything. Yeah, that's
like a proper keyring. I would have it on my keys. It would be like my second most prized possession.
Yeah.
Like, that is my
the Wellington Phoenix.
Yeah. I got this keyring from the very first season, I think.
Oh, nice.
So it is like my prized possession. No doubt now I'll go off and lose it. But
and Octoboss suggested we should have a black shirt just with that logo on the left chest. So we might see if we can get that put together at the same time for
just a classy pocket one.
On
the is that what he means? On
just this big, this big.
Oh, so you have to be really close to see it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just like a classy T-shirt. Can you have classy T-shirts?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you can't.
Oh, this one's pretty classy. What about this one?
Maybe a polo.
Oh, there we go.
Polo with a
that might be right.
A skivvy.
Bring back skivvy.
Yeah. And we've got TT2KB that's shown up as well. So hi, welcome, and thank you for joining us. Just letting you know that we're not playing tonight. We're just going to be chatting about a few things. What was the first thing that we were all like, what we should talk about? Oh yeah, what makes watching DnD fun and what isn't, and who thought that one up? That was a really good idea for a topic. Shannon, was that you?
I think Shannon did.
Do I have to go through our notes?
Yeah. We didn't have a list prepared for this?
Oh, man. It was because we were okay, all right, here we go. We were talking about some of the encounters that you guys had during the Lost Mine of Phandelver, and how I was listening to some of the earlier podcasts again, specifically I think it was episode 15, where you guys are walking to a location and a bunch of Sturges came out while you're on the path and attacked you. And while I was listening to it, I was just like, this is so boring. I cannot wait for this to be over. And it was really interesting because straight afterwards, there's another basically random encounter, this time with Billy Goblin, who bursts open and there's spiders and you guys had to fight a bunch of spiders. And that one was way more interesting. And I don't really know what was the... I don't know what was the thing that made one incredibly boring, and I was just like, this can wrap up anytime.
Billy's a character, isn't he? He's come back for revenge. It instantly makes it more of a story element than some stooges showing up trying to suck your neck.
So I guess the question is, like, how do you make a random encounter? Okay, because I remember when we were fighting the Sturges, when you guys were fighting the Sturges, I wasn't bored during it, and it didn't sound like any of you guys were bored either, because they were a threat. So what's the deal with turning, with making something fun to listen to afterwards? Like,
is it just how we play? Like, how did we play it? Were we fairly straight-laced and I just smash this, smash that, or were we using like sleep spells? Because I know we did that once, but I can't remember the first time.
I think they were too close to be doing sleep spells on, but I think it was pretty. I think it was pretty good. You guys will just attack. Like, it was. Go, Joe.
It sort of has to have stakes, doesn't it?
I mean, Baron got dropped. Baron got dropped to the ground.
But I guess it's not an interesting, I guess, story per se. If it's just like feels like it's just some random bugs. I don't know.
Yeah, imagine dying like that. Well, that's how you die.
That would suck. I'd just be like, redo.
Yeah. Random Origins said that he enjoyed a lot of the goblin encounters because they had character, same as the bugbears. Was it just a matter of there was no character?
True.
There was no characters.
There's nothing
to the
interesting about a bug. They can't like taunt us or anything. They're just like.
Can you imagine Reagan doing an overlay for a Sturge?
Yeah, like,
this is the overlay.
I can't wait to kill you.
When they like little rat-faced things, so I mean, I got it.
They got like a pink sort of proboscis.
They look kind of like skin turkeys.
Oh, so no overlay needed then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, sick burn.
So I think it could be that there was nothing goading you guys on. They were just like, it was like fighting mosquitoes, really.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't goad you on, like, I think fighting an owl bear is more exciting because it's sort of a legendary freaky creature that you all have to attack at once. I don't know, but we were just walking through the forest and then we get attacked. Because that happens in D&D, I guess, like a random encounter.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, they were just a time filler. I guess it's sort of like if you think you don't like filler episodes in anime, I don't mind them.
Right.
But it was like that, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's just finding ways to make those random encounters purposeful, I guess. TT2KB said, what would you say? There are two methods to fix it that he's seen: faster combat and more narrative combats. And I think, bringing in things that can actually talk to you guys and possibly have a connection to something else that you're fighting works a bit better than just having some bugs coming out and that you're swatting away. And if it is just bugs that you're swatting away, it needs to maybe just be over faster. I don't know.
I think that they need
like those random encounters.
Oh,
sorry,
Shannon.
I think there needs to be something that you're trying to do, right? It's like maybe the random encounter, they've got, I don't know, like a key or something. If there's some thing that's blocking your progression in the story, if it's just a side quest where you get like 10 gold pieces or something, or you kill a bunch of rats, or even, it doesn't matter what it is, it's still a side. It seems like you're diverting what you're really interested in.
Yeah, that makes sense. TT2GB is also saying just like free social actions for players, which I think I give you anyway. I think you guys are kind of free on your turns just to do pretty much anything on top of doing an attack. So I think that's, I don't know why that one specifically stood out.
But I think, like you say...
Sorry, Dave, you were trying to get in before. Can you go?
Like past games I played, obviously we play with experience points.
Yeah.
And so random encounters where you gain experience points are useful and they have purpose. So their purpose is more built about you're beating these things up, you gain experience points, so they help you level up. Whereas because we're just doing it in events, those random encounters aren't necessarily needed so much. They don't have that kind of, yay, I gained this, or yay, I'm about to level up kind of excitement.
Yeah. Imagine earning like 5 XP from battling some Sturges, and that's what leveled you guys up. Like how, I don't know, this wouldn't be overly
be awesome.
satisfying.
I think that's why they got rid of it, or they came up with the alternative, right?
Yeah.
Of milestone, because I used to do the experience point thing too when I was DMing, and I would end up having put lots of fights in, and you can give them experience points for role playing as well, but generally it makes it a lot more fight focused.
Yeah, the main mechanic of experiencing is you go looking for a battle because that's where you get your most experience, and you end up being murder hobos.
It's more like a video game or something.
Yeah.
Joe.
I was just thinking, like, you know how you said, you could speed it up. But is there any real point in even entering into initiative if you're just going to try and blaze through it? Like, even the fuss of going into initiative, if it's not even a worthwhile battle, like, doesn't seem worth it.
It's really interesting because in the end it comes down to the fact that in most D&D you end up traveling for hours to get somewhere, and you're meant to for every hour you're meant to roll a d20, and if it hits a certain number there's meant to be a random encounter for that hour. So theoretically you could have travel for 8 hours and theoretically have 8 different combat sessions on your way to that area.
We'd get nowhere.
You'd get just nowhere so quickly. And but then again, what if you don't encounter something when you're trekking across a world? You just run the risk of putting your players in a boring environment. I don't know.
Fast traveling almost.
Yeah.
I was putting them in the end because I used to do lots of random encounters. Went through a big cave, was basically all just random encounters. I mean, that's classic dungeon crawling.
Right.
But yeah, I would end up just putting them in if the players were procrastinating and fucking around or just couldn't make up their minds. And then, shit, you better hurry up because you know that something's going to come along. If you don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. All right, yeah, TT is saying if they do a wilderness encounter, like a random wilderness encounter, then he just finds like a story reason. So it's that those things are there, and I think that's going to be the way to go. I don't know if I just want to be like, there's one you found and I roll a dice, one, and then I roll the dice, wolf. And it's just like 5 of you guys and you're all level 5 or 6 and you just like, and just what's the point I'd almost rather roll for some random encounters, and it just builds some background, so it takes you guys 8 hours to get there, and along the way you've fought a few things and you're in desperate need of a rest, or
that's where exhaustion comes in, I guess, or if you're being chased and things. But I think as far as random encounters, we fought some skeletons one time, and that seemed more interesting because it seemed like they were being sent by the baddie. Whereas like if it was Sturges, it seems like, they just live in the trees.
Yeah, Sturges were more random than
Did Dave cut out for everyone else?
Zombies or whatever that could have been sent or could have had it.
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, I'm cutting out for everyone apparently.
Yeah. Just cutting in and out. It just sort of like freezes for a bit and then carries on.
Oh no.
Be your Wi-Fi maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Be my interwebs. I'm sitting in the wrong.
Have you switched back to the old version of Whereby? Or are you on the new version?
It's using Whereby on Opera new version. So I can switch back to old version.
Yeah, I'm on the new version too.
I just use the old version. It's just better.
That's on the
I'm just
setting.
going to switch back to it right now.
Okay.
You guys, I'm not going to be the only one on that.
Where is it?
There's a settings button in the bottom bar thing, and then you go. There's like room,
there it is. Yeah,
and switch back. This is great. This is great.
Well, actually, I can't find it. So.
Okay. Oh well.
Don't worry.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. So I think we'll find a way. I need to just make sure that if you guys are fighting anything, it's I don't know, enjoyable.
I think it's always enjoyable for us, but you said, if you go back and think, how's this progressing the story? If someone's following along a story, or which part would you fast forward? Is like a random encounter with some Sturges, or and I think if it's something that's sent by a baddie, like a big villain, like we thought maybe the skeletons were. Yeah. This gives you an impression that, hey, maybe there's some clues here, or maybe we're screwing over this baddie by killing these things. Yeah. But I don't think we're fucking over anything but the forest
See, when we were going through that Sturge thing, just that random encounter in the forest, it was just, for me, it was funny because they were just, you guys were rolling terribly, and I think from a listening point of view, just listening to the heroes flub all their rolls just is not fun. But for me as a DM, it was so much fun to have these Sturges coming in, and maybe it was just lacking a little bit of flavor. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't interesting. I'd be interested to see what listeners thought or viewers thought if they remember that sort of Sturge encounter. But yeah,
'cause maybe it wasn't boring for everybody. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it was just you, Reagan, who
I
who
might
knew
not have
more.
thought it was boring. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you guys are welcome to. I think it was episode 15. You guys are welcome to have a listen. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts as well. But for anyone who is watching at the moment, what makes watching D&D or listening to D&D fun? I'm pretty keen to hear what other people think. I think you guys have listened to some of what we did.
Yep.
Were there any things that you guys thought were just you would fast forward through?
Well, see, the two sessions that I missed out on, I obviously were later episodes.
Yeah.
And I listened to them, and I was laughing the whole and stressing out the whole time. Like, it had me so engaged. I mean, it probably more so because it was my character that was involved, and there was a little more personality to it. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was, and I didn't expect to. I actually thought I would be bored because, quite frankly, the whole idea of listening to 4 or 5 people play D&D.
Thank you for everyone who subscribed today.
To me, when I think about it, it's just like, what the fuck? Why are we doing this? But clearly, it's actually quite fun. If you enjoy the concept, then But
because it is some randomness to it. It's not like
I don't know. Earlier parts, when we were kind of
TV.
learning the ropes.
Sorry, there was Dave, you froze, so we kind of filled the gaps.
sorry, I didn't realize.
Sorry. So what were you saying, Shannon?
No.
I guess it's maybe appealing because it's live and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's random dice rolls sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes. Hopefully it's all the time.
My one.
It's random when the players roll them.
Hey, it's random.
True. I
When I
don't see no
roll
dice
them.
rolls from the DM. So I guess maybe it's more like a play or something.
Right.
Where some weird 70s play where we'll come out into the audience and we should do that like confrontational plays.
Yeah.
You come out and talk to an audience member. Hey, what do you think? What are you doing right now?
Joe, you've listened to some stuff.
Yeah, the worst part, I think the worst parts are the parts that I also enjoy the least when I'm playing. Like we keep saying, like, there's this episode we just got to frickin' talk to everyone in town, and it's just really boring information gathering with all the NPCs, and it's just like, oh.
It was a tick box exercise. That it was just going down each person.
That was just,
Yeah.
Just anything when there's nothing that actually lends itself to a good story is probably least fun for me to play, but also least fun to listen to.
Yeah.
And I can't miss a chance to like throw a little shade on other streams that I've seen. But I can't stand, like I've just like out of curiosity watched a few on Twitch and stuff, and like the ones where people just talk away in a monotone. Oh God, I would have like stabbed my ears. Sorry. So don't talk in a monotone ever.
But I'm a New Zealander. I can't help it.
It's our accent.
That's how we do it. But
There's talking in a monotone, but then there's like monologuing in a monotone, which is nightmarish.
Or like reading or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just playing
Honestly,
a character that just talks at length in a monotone.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
Jump on Twitch one like weekend and just take a look at a bunch of the D&D channels, because honestly, man, I find
Let's not be that mean.
No, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just like, there are people that are playing. No, wait a minute. There are people that are playing.
We shit on everyone.
No.
Yeah.
There are people who are playing to play D&D, and then there are people who are playing to broadcast themselves playing D&D.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that are just playing D&D that they shouldn't be streaming. They're just streaming themselves playing with no concept of trying to entertain the people that are there to watch. Yet they have people willing to watch.
Watching
I think,
them.
and I think
Are
that
they
says something
like-
about D&D.
Yeah,
That it is
people-
very watchable.
I guess maybe that's the voyeurism thing as well. We can watch people, doesn't matter what they're doing, and go, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I think like a lot of people probably just turn on Twitch while they're doing something else as well. Like,
right.
maybe that's not the standard, to be that entertaining. I don't know.
Are they rolling dice and just not really saying what's happening and
Yeah, I've seen one like
things
that.
like that?
They're
Or
literally
what
there's
is-
a camera pointing above a table and they are playing. There's just 4 people sitting around playing. They're not even talking about the audience or referring to the audience at all. They're just playing a game.
Yeah,
And they've got a camera.
I think playing the game is fine. It's probably just like I imagine that it's more interesting to when you roll the dice that if you're listening in, you know what is rolled. Because sometimes we'll forget to say, "Oh, that's a 19," or "That's a missing." I think actually the number is interesting.
I think so as well.
I agree.
I think the
go,
viewers are waiting to see what that number is. That's a really interesting, and that's the randomness. That's the part that's like everyone should be interested in that moment. I think.
Okay, so we need to remember to say what we roll.
Yeah, we should have a giant computer yell it out. 20.
We need to do that.
Oh.
I was looking.
I like it.
I am.
Yes.
A Kiwi guy got in touch recently to show me that this app that he was working on, it just runs on your phone, and you can get it all your character sheet put into it and connect it to the overlay on Twitch. And so when you roll the dice, you push a button for what you're trying to roll on your phone, and it shows up on the Twitch overlay. So I mean, it's for people who aren't using Roll20, that's kind of cool. And I guess you can kind of stylize how it appears as well. So I said I'd be keen to take a look at it when it goes into beta, so he's probably going to pass that our way just to have a bit of a play with.
What I wish I had was like, we could show real dice.
Right.
I think they're more
like a
fun.
camera on the dice would be cool.
I got given these for Christmas
Oh wow,
by
cool.
my sister. No, I haven't got to use them yet. Probably never will use them.
Well, Shannon, you've got yourself a second camera that you could.
That's true now.
You could,
Yeah.
if you wanted to
OMG.
set up a little rolling area with a camera looking down on it, and include that in your webcam feed, dude, go right ahead. I will let you use real dice for that.
That would be cool.
I reckon probably need 3 cameras.
Why is that?
I don't know. So I
You
can
just
have
want
2
more
heads.
cameras.
He can have one camera watching on his face and one camera watching the dice and one camera watching his reaction. It's like all
Oh,
of
that's
in one.
true. Yeah. Yeah, that's
The only issue I have with it is I think it will slow down rolling, because now you'll have to roll and then add your modifier manually and then roll your damage secondary.
You have to find which dice you need to roll.
The great thing about Roll20 is it keeps the rolling so fast. It's
does,
like,
yeah.
but it's still interesting. You see the dice roll out. You can kind of hold your breath for that
you
moment.
see it fucking lie.
Yeah, only occasionally.
Occasionally. Bullshit.
So here's something that we were talking about the monotone voice. Garman said when he got busted accidentally ice knifing Loris. So this is the Baron, and he apologized, and then Loris asked about a previous time it had happened, and Shannon just deadpans, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
That was hilarious.
Yeah, Garman said he laughed himself almost sick, and I watched that. That was one that I listened to like earlier last week, and I was just saying, it was just so funny. It was just that I was just giggling to myself at my work.
God, that's good.
yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying never have a monotone ever. I'm just saying don't let that be the only tone of voice in the entire stream.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If that's your tone, then you're going to bore people senseless.
Yeah.
Loris did
Imagine
not
the
find that funny.
I swear there's been DMs like that.
Oh,
Yeah, there are DMs like that as
Insane.
well.
Oh.
And they just read long descriptions at length, and I'm just like, oh no, turn it off, Reagan.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
This is like torture, is it?
It is.
Now
It
who's
actually
being
is.
mean? Now who's being mean to other streamers?
I'm always mean. You know that.
Yeah.
I'm the most critical person.
Yeah, that's fair.
Honestly,
That's right.
Judgy.
Design
need, like,
school
a
only
judge
encouraged
outfit.
it, honestly.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the? Oh,
I just
actually,
judge you in
speaking from
private.
real life, I went and played like a little bit of D&D in person once, and it was
What?
a mixed bag.
Mixed bag.
Yeah, I cheated on getting dicey.
Oh,
Yeah, but it wasn't even good for me, honestly. I just regretted it.
that doesn't
Shame.
matter. You still did
And
it.
regret.
I swear. They made me make a character, and then I sat there in the first session for, I think it was over 40 minutes before they bothered to actually introduce my character. So I was just sitting there like watching them play, like, oh, I wonder if an interesting character will appear soon.
Okay.
No, you're going through customs? Okay.
Okay, so
Literally, though, they were going through customs.
this is when I have to unfortunately admit that Adam might be sitting around for a little bit before his character gets. Well, that depends on you guys. I think it won't take too long, but who knows?
Is it more than one room away?
It's
You
kind
know
of.
us.
So the way that I'm going to be starting the next session will be with a fair bit of storytelling, I think. Not much player control. There'll be a bit of player control, and then I'll take away the player control, and then by the time I give it back to you, Adam's character should be there.
Was it like Metal Gear Solid 4 or something?
Something like that.
Hopefully not as convoluted as a Metal Gear Solid game. Jesus Christ.
It's an hour and a half of me just discussing things in super confusing detail about the history.
And you were like,
of...
so you see, it was actually a clone of my sister's boyfriend's
Brother!
son. His arm.
Yeah.
Yes, his arm, wasn't it? It was nanomachines. He did it. Actually, if Stride has nanomachines, I'll be impressed. That'd be cool.
That would be. So I think that sort of covers a lot of the whole what is and isn't fun. Unless people have got in the chat other things that they really just... Because I think Random Origins might have something to say about this one, actually. So
yeah, I want to know what's fun.
I want to fucking hear from you guys.
What the fucking fun?
Because I know that I've had messages afterwards being like, oh, it got good around the part where this happened. It's like, okay, cool. So we know when it got good, but what didn't you like about the parts that weren't good?
They just didn't get good.
Just they weren't as good.
Just we need all good bits.
Just all if you can just
bits
only
and
have the good bits, that'd be great.
Yeah.
It's just knowing what they are, and then I can just cut them out. Shopping
Remove
sucks, right?
Shopping.
Shopping.
Shopping sucks.
Shopping
Oh,
sucks
God.
so much. Also, currency in D&D, I feel, is just broken anyway.
Well, I just hate when you're like, you find treasure. It's 20 gold, 10 silver. Write this down. 15 bronze pieces, a gem, which appears to be worth 2 gold, maybe. Write that down. You might want to haggle with the shopkeeper later.
Mm-hmm. You've definitely played D&D
No, I
before.
don't.
Yeah. You got a flute that you think may be worth 15 silver pieces.
Yeah. And then
And like some electrum, some platinum. Why isn't it all in gold?
well, and then it's like, okay, well, if everything's in gold,
just the gold equivalent. You just give us the gold equivalent. You see, you find a bunch of diamonds and shit, but just say you think it's worth 50 gold pieces.
I think
because some player thought or some DM thought it was fun to have everything, and because people like to hack. There's a bunch of people out there that like to inventory manage.
Yeah.
And
I
they
don't
get
blame
off
them.
running that shit. So you need different currencies.
And some people really like encumbrance and stuff like that. They play it quite realistic.
Yuck.
And if you get into it, I'm sure it is interesting because you following that strictly. But if you can't do it by halves. If you either do an encumbrance or you're not.
Yeah.
Like I see, like they want to be thorough with their world building, but it's just like, I'm not committed. I'm not committed to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it might make you go, well, I mean, this is a whole bunch of copper. Just leave it. That's what you'd have to do.
Yeah.
Where you carry around a wheelbarrow or something.
Yeah.
That's where it comes in handy, being like a class where you can be like, oh no, my character wouldn't care about that.
Right. And then the thing is, if you just convert everything into gold, then gold, like the cost of things kind of has to go up. What the hell was that?
Oh yeah, because you're kind of rounding up.
What the hell
I
was
don't know what
that?
happened.
That was Obi.
Oh,
that was my dog. He's got the zoomies, so he's just hurting around the kitchen. And he comes into the kitchen in his liner and he spins on the spot but runs. So he's going. He's literally running it. He's just got
Like rotating.
So
Dave,
cute.
Dave, you need
Kind of
another
thing.
camera set up so we can see that every time.
Yeah. Actually, you only need one camera
He's
Yeah.
fucking
for the dog.
insane, I tell you.
Joe, your Snapchat
Yeah, my
thing
Snapcam's going freaking crazy.
It goes yellow.
it just goes yellow
Yeah.
and it's trying to.
It decides that the least jarring thing to happen when it has an error is just to flash the most stressful shade of yellow.
Have
So
you
that's nice.
Have you got other things running in the background? Are you using, I don't know, something
I
that's
think
using up a bunch of stuff?
I probably
2,000
I can
tabs?
close some stuff.
2,000 tabs. Photo.
2,000 tabs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's because like a gold piece is meant to be quite a lot, right? In this world, like a beer,
what-
is meant to be like 2 bronze pieces or something. Yeah, but then if you're not dealing in gold anymore, I can't ask you to snap off a bit of gold piece. I've got to be like, okay, well, beer is now 2 gold, and now
I just
everything
feel like
else has to escalate in
You
price.
can have
as
a
well.
couple of spare changes in your pocket, but it's not like you're going around like, I need 50 copper pieces or something. I think and also people treat money badly in Dungeons and Dragons because they don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Like in the old Dungeons and Dragons, there was a lot of emphasis on as you're leveling up, then you're going to get like a castle and you're going to get a certain amount of followers and all that stuff, and that costs this amount of money per day or this week. But generally, people were just like, oh, they just accumulate all this stuff, and what are they going to do with it? Maybe like buy a magic weapon or something. I don't know. It's not like epic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to say, I don't think that you should even be like, hey, it's a dog. Cute. Oh my gosh, such tiny legs.
Such a Nicky. He's busy attacking his mum like, I'm going to box with you. It's like, you idiot.
So what were you saying, Joe?
I was just saying, like, I don't want the game to be so granular that you have to be like, how many copper pieces do you have to pay the barman?
Yeah.
Like, just give me drinks. I don't know, or don't.
So okay.
I
Well,
know.
then,
Like, I don't want to be. I think focusing on the super granular aspects would slow it down and also not be worth it.
so we can just imagine you guys have got like loose change. I mean, you've got gold, for Christ's sake. It's not like you guys are just walking around poor. You have gold in your pocket, so you probably have loose change that you can just use that just doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
I've usually solved that by having like tavern owners just giving you free shit because, you're new people here. You can just, it's on the house. Or you've saved us from something.
We did
It's on the
something,
house. So,
Nice.
yeah.
But they've
What
sort of solved it a little bit with the expenses thing. You pick your weekly or monthly expenses,
Right.
and then you take it out at the end of the month. Like you can be an aristocrat and you have to spend, I don't know, like 1,000 gold a month. Or you can be a beggar and it's like basically nothing. You choose that. And then so if you go into a bar, you should just assume, I get a fancy cocktail or...
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, so we're not gonna argue about copper and silver and stuff like that. We'll just imagine everybody's got like some loose change in their pouches that is just basically infinite, basically. But if you ever wanted your character to count it, you've got just under a gold piece in loose change, like at all time, that kind of thing.
What if when we found treasure, instead of being like, you find 20 gold pieces, you're like, you find a lot. Yay!
Yeah.
Like, just like a really loose description. I don't know. And then say
Heaps,
you are
bro.
6 rich out of 10.
You're 60% rich.
Oh, yeah.
That might be weird if you're like, I want to buy this thing, and I'm like, you have many, but you needed slightly more than many, and I don't know.
I'd be okay with it. Anything to like not make me do maths as part of my hobby, that would be great. Thanks.
I think I do enjoy getting lots of money, but there's only enjoy it if there's something to do with it.
Something worth buying.
Yeah.
So collecting the gold is all great, but I want to go like it's in a video game where you walk around picking up all the treasure. You don't collect all that treasure for nothing. You want to go to the end of it where you can go, right, you've done this campaign, now buy some shit. And it's the special stuff.
What do you guys want to buy? I mean, you guys already have like axe. Like in your case, Dave,
Yeah.
you've got an axe, which is a 1d12, and it's already a +1.
Yeah.
So like,
No, my mace is a +1.
oh right.
Yeah.
But
So
there's
the axe is a 1d12 by it in itself.
I mean, exactly.
The
So
mace
like,
is a +1.
what more can you kind of do with that? I'm not.
I don't
I
think
don't
they're
know,
for
a mace
objects,
that
right?
does lightning damage, that would be cool.
Adding
What if-
like elemental attacks and stuff like that.
Just kind of like it's magic weapons that you find. Like, I mean, I don't know how magic you want weapons to be or how powerful you want us to be, but those are the kind of things that you're thinking, like the D&D RPG type games. You pick up more powerful weapons or more powerful armor or rings of protection, etc., those kind of things, which might cost 1,000 gold pieces. But that's what you store up your money for.
Though, isn't it?
It is, because once you get too powerful, you've suddenly got these level 7 or 8 characters running around in godlike armor.
Yeah.
And then you've got to make godlike beasts to attack them.
Joe, your finger was up?
I had a thought, then I was like, I don't think that's a good thought. I was just like, what if all the shops were just like bartering instead of money?
Oh my God.
Oh God,
But then I was like, no, that would make it even worse. Never mind.
Bring me 6 rats.
Yeah.
No, but I was just like, oh, what if you like, I don't know, you picked
I
up
like that
a
shop that you
thing
did
and
for us in the Aether World Dragon.
Right.
That magic shop that kind of followed us around, and at various times we could access it and buy some stuff. That was kind of cool. Like, it wasn't a random shop that we bumped into in town and we had to go back to it every time we wanted to get some stuff. It was like now's a good time to go buy a magic tool, or there's a reason for us to go do it, or we do it out of game. But it was always there. So it's kind of like a list of magical items or list of items that we could buy.
But personally, I don't like the idea of buying magical items. I think you should just get them by doing stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
There's that too.
Yeah.
There's a lot more satisfying.
Because these campaigns are always built with the idea of there are cool things that you will find during this campaign.
But one thing, there are things. Oh, sorry, Joe. I just say that there are a lot of really expensive things built into the game, like especially for things like wizards. And that's like if you want to bring someone back to life or something, or not for a wizard, but some spells they cost like 1,000 gold or a diamond or something, and that makes it seem a lot more real if you're like trying to scrounge together some money to go to a cleric or like something like that, and
because a lot of wizard spells have diamonds as components, right? That they need to use.
Yeah, and they're not. It only use it if it says consumed during this thing. Oftentimes, it's just you have it. But for some things, especially for bringing people back to life or something, I think that it's consumed. So you go, oh shit, where am I going to get $1,000? Or
so you might have to pay for someone's diamond that is going to be used to bring someone back. That kind of thing.
or if you have to go to, I don't know, maybe if you meet an NPC and they're a powerful wizard and you need them to teleport you somewhere or something.
Yeah,
that's what gold might come in handy. I don't know.
I've heard this recently as well, like killing players, so they're dead, but then there's someone that can revive them. Like, how would it feel to be halfway through like a, 12-hour dungeon, right? And you're 6 hours in, someone dies, and then you guys have to decide whether or not you're going to go find that cleric back at that other town.
That's why you have a cleric in your party.
or do you guys fight through the rest of this dungeon one man down with the idea of, well, we'll take this dead body to a cleric when we get out of here. What are your thoughts on that? What do you reckon?
I think having the penalty of having to do it later is what puts the fear of death in you. Like I don't know.
Because as a player, you're sitting around for 6 hours, which in our world is 2 sessions, waiting. Like that's essentially 2 weeks sitting around waiting for your team to go back to that cleric and revive you in the hope that they still can.
Yeah.
You'd better hope you play scary. You'd better hope your character was likable enough that people would put that effort in. Because if that was like the pain in the ass party member who you're kind of like low-key annoyed at, you'd just be like, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do.
He is gone now.
Stop making your character. We'll see you in a week.
Okay, yeah, and that's the other thing is maybe it would be a good idea to have a thought for another character. Because
I've got 6, so it's okay.
Have one. I have one. Have one at the ready. This is gonna. You know how much harder the Christmas special was. I think it's gonna be like. I think the whole campaign is probably gonna be pretty tough.
Are you telling us to get another character ready?
Yeah. I
More
would
likely that we'll die.
I would say it's best to have one ready just in case. Just in case.
What about my Pugman?
Pugman Biffs, you could bring him in.
Yeah, I want to bring Valmont back into some point because it was hilarious.
I think all of you are gonna have like a little gnome or goblin character, character. I think Joe's got a little gnome bard that she wants to bring in as well.
Okay.
I not necessarily want to.
You just have to.
You're just gonna have to now.
Yeah. But I would definitely get one prepared just in case.
Is that a threat?
It's not a threat.
Week one, 3K.
It's not
all
a threat.
Of you bring new characters.
I just want you guys to be aware that this shit can probably go badly this time.
It sounds like a mafia
pretty
or something.
You just want to look after me, and I'll look after you.
What happened to your character?
I think what I might do is show off these little prints that we got of all our characters. We'll start.
Have those stickers turned up yet?
Not yet. They've taken ages to show up, but hopefully soon. I'll start with Sig because he's not in this new campaign, so we'll get him out of the way. Like, yeah, look at the size of these things.
Holy
These are fantastic.
Cow. Oh, it's huge.
Next to my head. They're about double size, but
oh, so cool.
Yeah, seriously cool. They need a little bit of a sanding to get the little struts and stuff removed. And who we got next? We got
Yay!
which is seriously cool.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it sounds like Reese is going to paint them all for us, but I don't know how long it's going to take. Because I imagine it's going to take a wee while. Because with them being double size and quite detailed. I think the pose on this one is fantastic.
That's very cool.
Oh, yeah.
And also, you probably can't see, but there's a tiny little squirrel in the front.
It kind of reminds me of that bag in that room.
No, you've ruined it. Oh, that's my mascot now. Great.
No.
Don't paint it flesh coloured.
Hey.
A little sickly Baron with his booze. It's looking seriously cool. We've got
And that bard.
Bill.
Oh, look at that.
Again, that pose is fantastic. It looks so
It's
good.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And we don't have one for our new character played by Adam because we haven't seen him yet. We haven't introduced him. This is season.
Yeah.
These are season 1 characters, everyone. Which brings us back to our favourite Sildar with his sore hurt knees.
And his passive aggressive.
No, I'm fine.
attitude.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Don't help me up.
Don't worry about me. My knees are just aching. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
So I can't wait to get those all painted. Those will look so good. So good. An Octoboss has just popped in. Hey, man, we were talking about the black t-shirt with the logo design that you sort of were mentioning, and we were trying to decide if you wanted a t-shirt or a polo shirt. What kind of style? Or a skivvy.
Oh, we agreed on the skivvy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So that's cool. Those are awesome. The other thing I wanted to talk about, some new rules. And your thoughts on these new rules. New rules. Just new rules for everything. First one being flanking rules. So the idea being that if there's 2 of you on either side, opposing sides of an enemy, then you get advantage attacks on you two get advantage attacks on those.
You too does.
You two does. Just the edge and Bono. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other people are in you two.
Yeah, me neither. Just those 2.
Yeah, they should have worked harder on iconic names for
I know.
themselves.
The other side of that coin is that you can be flanked as well, which would mean they have advantage attacking you.
What?
So depending on how smart these characters are, they might have new sort of
Oh no.
strategies.
With one hand he giveth, with the other hand he taketh away.
Yeah. One of them is very much me just giving you a hand. Wait a minute. No, giving.
No,
With one
it's
hand.
Flanking.
Flanking, yeah, so flanking.
Yeah,
My
not-
hand is flanking.
So,
Boy, oh boy. So what are your thoughts on flanking? Tell me.
Oh dear.
Keen?
I like flanking.
Wait,
Because-
Yeah, I
Whatever
think
you-
it's a good idea.
Okay.
because it makes
We're
people
talking about army strategy, right?
work together as a team.
Yeah, it opens up way more opportunities to strategize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Which is the positive thing about fighting. I think fighting can be pretty boring if it's just fighting, but if you're sort of developing how your characters interact with each other, I mean, that's more interesting. And then it carries on to outside the fight.
Mm.
And it encourages that to flank. And also, I like all sorts of different layouts in a fight, like levels and, like barrels of oil or something in the room that you push over, and everyone thinking together and planning. And
So I think with flanking rules and cover rules and giving height advantage if you're higher and can see down, then giving advantage for that kind of thing, I think there will be way more room to strategize and use the space, and also be worried about your opponents doing the same. Yeah. I mean, you might have
so
some...
they have advantage if they're higher, they have the high ground.
Well, I introduced that because Joe misty stepped to a top of to a tree branch and lost mine. And I was kind of like, oh, I've seen that used in a lot of like turn-based tactical RPGs. And I thought, oh, we'll just throw that in there.
So
as
you
well.
added that. It's not like...
I haven't seen that rule in the book. It might be in the rule. I don't know.
Good.
But I like it. I like it.
It sort of makes logical sense, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For a lot of
It's
situations.
the Obi-Wan Anakin rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obi-Wan has the high ground. It's impossible
he
for
knows.
the other person to win.
Yeah.
He knows that.
It's because Joe always makes sure she's higher than me in our house.
Oh, really?
What?
You got like...
I am upstairs currently, so you can't win.
One of the other... I've got... So
That's why I'm always walking around on stilts at home.
Just got these like platform shoes. All right, so we're all pretty keen on flanking rules then.
Yeah.
I'm keen on it until it happens to me, in which case I'm fully against it.
Yeah.
That's like I'm saying, if you guys want it, then it will be, good and bad. It will be used against you as well. If the characters are smart enough to do that kind of thing.
Okay,
I think it'll be entertaining for
enemies.
Yeah,
there won't be any enemies.
Only straight.
Oh, what a relief. Whew, yeah, okay,
it's
good.
going to be a holiday, eh? It's,
I was thinking this was going to be like more of an Animal Crossing kind of experience.
Exhaustion. That was another one. Shannon, you said that you quite like the exhaustion rules.
Yeah. Or especially as a DM. I like the exhaustion rules.
Right. Okay,
It's not so good for us.
For anyone who's not sure what that is, so some special abilities and environmental hazards such as starvation and the long-term effects of freezing or scorching temperatures can lead to a special condition called exhaustion. Exhaustion is measured in 6 levels, and in effect can give a creature 1 or more levels of exhaustion as specified in the description. So level 1 exhaustion gives you a disadvantage on ability checks. Level 2 is you get half your movement. Level 3 exhaustion, you get disadvantages on attack rolls and saving throws. Level 4 is hit point maximum set to half. 5 is speed reduced to 0, as in you can no longer move. And 6 is death. And not dying state, but death. Instant character
Man, you just
death.
freaking die from exhaustion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and every level of exhaustion includes the things before it as well. So if you're level 4, you have half your hit points. You've got disadvantage on ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws, and you have half speed. If you
to recover it, you have to maybe 8 hours rest gets 1 level of exhaustion removed, right?
That's right. That's right. Provided that you've also ingested some food and drink.
Mm-hmm.
But
because they're talking about like forced marches and things like that.
Yeah. Also, being raised from the dead reduces a character's exhaustion level by 1. So that's nice.
Because they might have died from exhaustion.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's a cool idea. It'll just make us think about like exerting our or overexerting yourself. Because we play it like I rush in, I do this battle, and then the next thing we're ready to charge into another one. It's like if you've just defeated 5 or 6 enemies, you're going to be pretty tired. And then if you try and do something,
I don't think that will give you exhaustion because you're.
Oh, it wears you out. It's what you do afterwards. If you rush in and do something crazy like that.
To get exhaustion, you need to have been doing something for more than 24 hours.
Okay.
So you get an exhaustion level if you haven't had a long rest, basically. If you go 24 hours without a long rest, then you get one level of exhaustion.
And the players often do it to themselves because they think, shit, I have got to get to this place in 2 days or 3 days or something. Can we have a rest? Because that's what we're often wondering. Should I rest now? And if you have to push yourself over 2 or 3 days just to get there in a worse state, that's what you have to do. And so it's more impactful, I think, if the players do it to themselves.
But I guess it's like a toss-up between how much you want to make the game so granular and realistic, because you could easily fall into the trap of being like, okay, here's even more things we need to slow the game down to manage.
Well, I don't think this one really slows it down. It's not like counting or anything. And it's very rare to get over a couple of levels of exhaustion. Yeah. But it would be just like, okay, you've got disadvantage on saving throws or something.
And that's it.
The first one, because you push yourself that far.
A really good example.
I've never heard of anyone dying of exhaustion.
Yeah, I think a really good example is in the Christmas special, although I wouldn't have wanted to use it for that. A little cup got taken and you guys just traveled straight to the cave. Obviously, you did because it would have been boring to do anything else. But realistically, that's a 2-day travel. That's so that you should have arrived there with a level of exhaustion.
Well, I think it's okay if you isn't it okay if you're on a horse or in a cart or something like that? So
not if you don't rest. If you don't rest for 24 hours.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine sitting on a horse for 24 hours straight being very
and
relaxing.
not being tired. Yeah. Or even a cart, like driving a cart 24 hours solid or 48 hours solid.
You can take
you're going to be pretty rest.
People sleep in a cart in the back.
Yeah, so you say at that point you're taking rest and you're managing that.
And that's when we need money.
So you can have a wagon or a cart or something. Yeah,
exactly.
What are they called? Followers and stuff. That's what money was always helpful for in the old ones, because you have followers and they're washing your stuff and maybe they could drive the cart and you can sleep. I don't know.
I don't think this would come up much. Like I'm thinking of our playthrough of Lost Mine, and I can't even think of a point where you might have even had one level of exhaustion, to be honest.
Pretty rare.
Yeah.
Most of our travel was half a day, and we rested. Well, we looked to take short rests and long rests wherever we could.
Trying to do a long rest per day. As soon as we took any damage, we're like, okay, long rest.
Yeah, we were doing it.
That's what slows it down. And I think exhaustion and stuff like that can often speed it up, or it gives you some urgency.
Yeah. You guys won't be having 2 long rests in a single day again. That was bullshit.
I remember right, I think it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll probably use it, but it might come up pretty rarely, to be honest.
I think having it in the background is useful.
Cleaving rules, which means if there's 2 enemies standing in front of Loris, and Loris swipes out with his great axe, and he does 10 damage to one, but it only needed 7 to kill it, then the one next to it will get 3 damage. So just allowing him to just cleave through.
I'm all for that.
The reason this is classified under like mobs, I think. Usually it's used for mobs when you guys are swarmed by a lot of things. But I kind of it just makes sense. I like the idea of doing if you're doing 10 damage to this one thing, and that's more than enough to kill it and then some. I just like the idea of visually, like the axe just slicing through it and then just carving into the thing next to it. I like that. And that can be the same with pretty much any melee weapon.
I'm all for that.
And I also think it might just help speed up and keep the flow of combat going a little bit faster.
The damage you're doing is more effective.
Yeah.
You don't lose 3 points of damage because it's killed someone instantly. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, but it also means pretty interesting things for if you like crit fail, I guess. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. Actually.
What happens if you crit fail?
Actually, that doesn't even make sense. Don't worry about it.
If I crit fail, I slice through myself and someone else.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to do enough to kill yourself first, and I don't see that.
Yeah, it's like Loris misses, he kills himself, but also, wait for it, he kills everyone standing next to him.
You will win.
That's it. Yeah, he suddenly does 100 damage and takes out 3 of you.
Okay, cool. I think Cleveland gets a tick. I don't know. Again, I don't know if this one's even going to happen, but I was looking this one up and I was thinking it could be interesting. But then I think someone in the chat was saying that these are rarely done well, which is chases.
Well, Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo chases, yeah. With the whole way, it's really interesting. There's a lot of rules behind it. Like you, on your turn, so I guess you use initiative for it. You can move your speed, or you can use dash to double your speed. Or you can use your speed and do an action, but obviously the person you're chasing is probably dashing, so they're going to be... So you need to sort of figure out on how you're doing all that. But there's an extra rule where you can roll a d20, and anything under 10 causes something to happen to whoever is next. So it's almost like you're running ahead and you accidentally knock into a barrel. Now that barrel has fallen over in front of the person behind you, that kind of thing.
Jesus.
So every time someone has a turn, when they have finished their turn, they roll the d20. 11 and up, nothing happens. But then 10 and under, there's a bunch of different things that could happen.
Keystone Cops type.
Yeah.
I'm trying to...
Oh, Dave.
Honestly.
Sorry. Say that again?
I'm just trying to remember how many chases we've had.
Well, no,
any situations we've been...
I haven't set any up. There could have been any sort of time for chases. Like I could have turned, not this is a good example, but I could have turned that boar scene into a chase scene. You know, and
Morris charging off into the bush.
And in fact, to be honest, that might have been a better way to deal with it because it was faster than you anyway, and anyway. It was all. Let's not dredge that. Let's not dredge that one up. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know if I like the idea of chases or not at the moment. I don't think. Yeah, I think it could be fun, but I think it would have to be built into the story.
It's a big part of Call of Cthulhu, like the chase thing.
Yeah, it is.
In DnD.
Because you're going to run away a lot more often than you are in D&D because you're not heroic, nor are you strong enough to fight.
Or you might be chasing down a lead. Yeah. Okay, that's a maybe. If I can think of solid
maybe on that, guys.
Yeah, a real maybe. I don't think I'll.
We didn't really make any conclusion money, did we? Not really.
Oh, I thought we did. I thought I was just going to be like.
What's the conclusion?
The conclusion is you've got loose change in your pockets for like small bits and pieces, but you've also got a lot of gold for if you want to spend it on things.
So are you saying that we have to count our coins?
Well, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
John does that for us.
Yeah, just
John. So we have John as the party bursar. He basically keeps track of all our gold, and when we go to buy stuff, he goes, "As a party, we can buy this."
Because I don't
No, I keep track of my gold if I keep anything that's not the party's. Which now that we're keeping party gold, is like, and it does happen that Loris did wander off in my chest.
Yeah,
that happened a couple of times. So I keep that separate.
Yeah, you have to do that.
In the rare occasion that I see that happening going forward, it's going to be it's team gold. Dustin
from TT2GB asked, "Do you guys have a party card?" I don't think he means like a party bus, but just like a caravan or cart that you can ride on when you travel, or do you literally walk everywhere?
It depends on who's kind.
Yeah, they've had some horses in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to start with this
Darren
one with
gave
anything.
us some horses. Listen.
Darren.
Listen.
Dazza.
Yeah.
You know Dazza.
Darren. Darren.
Yeah. So let's go back to the money. Do you not want to buy things?
we have a constant source of income after that lost mine
You do.
tobacco.
There's
So,
actually
I don't know how that.
that is a question I need to ask of all of you characters, which is how much do you have on yourself at any given time? Because you're not going to have your yearly earnings from the mine on you, but you might have that in a safe or in a chest somewhere, and
Do they have a first bank of Phandalin?
they don't. No, there's no bank. There's you just have to chuck it in a chest in your. That's why there's chests full of money everywhere.
Oh, right. Oh, my God. I keep mine under my mattress.
There you go. So yes, I want to know how much you guys are likely to have on you at any given time.
Probably 100 or 200 gold pieces.
Oh, yeah, because you're a
really?
noble. That makes sense.
Yeah, I might score some like drugs or something. Expensive.
Definitely. American?
I don't know. I don't know how much I supposedly have in my inventory or how much. Oh, God, money. I don't like it.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's great.
I'll get back to you when I've filled out American's spreadsheet. Some. How much does Baron have? But then I'll say half that because she's not rich.
Yeah, I'm not rich either. I spend it all on weed.
David, how much do you think Loris has got in his loincloth?
Well, Loris has basically started from nothing. Like he lives on his own. He's never carried around anything because he's never needed it, and he's just kind of, begged, borrowed, and stolen what he needed when he needed it. So that's why when the first events of finding those chests, he's like, "Sweet, that's mine." Thank you. So it's literally whatever he can carry in his pockets. And I think he's got at the moment, he had about 100 gold pieces on him, but fuck, God knows what I've spent it on in the last.
I mean, you guys have earned
all our money at the end to buy magic stuff, didn't we?
Yeah. Because you guys in the last 3 years, you've made like a decent percentage. I can't remember what was offered for you now, but I think it was like 25% of all profits from the mine or something. So it was a decent amount. And you've had 3 years of this mine being back in, being active again. So you guys would probably be sitting on a couple of thousand gold pieces.
I imagine Loris has just got a pile of gold coins in a corner somewhere in his room.
Yeah,
so whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So I don't know what sort of.
Mine. Was my cash?
Just you've been gambling it, probably, right?
I don't know. Are we talking about what we're doing with our money? What we would have done over the last 3 years? Or no?
Think about it. Like,
or just talk about it on the stream, probably.
Like, think about it, and you guys can add some flavor to the conversations that you have, but don't try and talk about it if it doesn't come up. Like, that would just be really boring.
Hey, rich guys. We could have like a rich person's club of Phandalin as well.
You guys would all be in that rich man's club for sure. Rich person's club.
Well,
wow. Rich person's club.
Does this
rich beings club?
Rich beings.
Did that answer your question at all, Joe? You wanted a resolution.
Have to think about money as the end.
I think you have to, or else it just means nothing. Like you're going to go into places and get things that are worth nothing.
I hate shopping.
John's dealing.
Yeah, John's dealing with it.
I will do whatever. Yeah. Although it's funny how he's like, okay, let me write this down, and he makes you repeat it twice.
I mean, that is very
every
painful.
single time.
It is very painful. Like
just say stuff to the value of 50 gold pieces.
I'm thinking I'm gonna have to
count it and 20 coppers and 40 silvers and stuff. It's like, hold on.
Yeah. So if you just say treasure is worth X, and he's got this, it's worth 50 gold pieces. Sweet.
Yeah.
That's all he's keeping track of. So you can go at the end of whenever period, we have this many gold pieces, and we go, sweet, I want to buy this sword, or I want to buy this, or I want to buy that, or we want to buy a house. Cool. It's going to cost you 600,000 gold pieces.
And I guess the only other items you really need to say is like if it's you got a dagger with a big cool jewel in it or something.
If it's a special item.
Yeah.
Or like really fancy hat.
Ooh, now I'm listening. What?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Megan.
All right.
Got some cool boots.
Yeah.
Because you can get like really cool wizardy things or really cool like character specific items that may not necessarily be magical, but they're kind of desired because they're dressy or they're kind of they mean something. They're a status symbol or whatever. So there's stuff like that you want to keep personal track of.
Yeah. Okay. It's giving me something to think about anyway, because I don't want to bore people with the
Money.
economic side of D&D.
Yeah.
And
Unless they want us to.
And I really don't want John to ask me after I've patiently spelled it out to repeat it, because that kills me every time. Okay, cool. I'll do some thinking. The next thing on my list was massive damage, which is a really interesting one, actually. Let me. Massive damage, which basically says if you deal half or more of a creature's HP. I'll just bring it up and I'll read it straight because that's probably the easiest way. When a creature takes damage from a single source equal to or greater than half of its hit point max, it must succeed on a DC 15 con saving throw or suffer a random effect determined by a roll on the system shock table. So if you're hit, bam, and it takes over more than half of your max HP, and then you roll a 4 or a 5, then that creature is stunned until the end of its next turn.
Nice.
If you roll a 1, that creature drops to 0 hit points. So it means that you can deal big damage and then just kill it in one shot, basically.
Do we get massively damaged as well?
It does say when a creature takes damage from a single source. You are included in a creature.
Yeah, but bear in mind,
half damage or more.
You have to take half or more of your max.
I almost always do.
Right.
You've got more hit points.
Yeah,
than
that's
that.
true.
Come on.
Is that something that's just going to disproportionately screw the less HP heavy characters?
Or,
Yeah, I mean, still, you have to.
Aaron's got a fair few hit points. Oh, this you're still a level 10 character in thingy, aren't you?
You've got good constitution though, right? Because you have to. First of all, you have to fail a DC 15 con saving throw,
and it's pretty tricky though.
Depends on your bonus. You must have a plus.
It's not like a 50-50. 75. I got a +2 con.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I feel like this. As far as the player is concerned, like for myself and like players like Sig, this isn't so much a concern because good luck knocking me half hit points in one hit. You have to be pretty tough to do that.
I can do it if you want to.
You can do it. I know you can, and you have done. But for someone like Baron and maybe Joe, I don't know what your hit points are like, Joe, but for the more magical characters who are less sturdy, so to speak, their risk is higher. But then you guys are always at the back of a fight anyway.
That's where the tough guys come from. They always come from the back.
Only
if it's Billy Goblin who's out to get you.
Yeah, I have it all the time. But I think I regardless of being a wizard or whatever, is it a good rule?
Yeah, is it a good rule? What do you guys think of it as a rule?
I think it would help potentially speed up battles because once again it means if we do massive damage to a character, they could potentially die quicker, or they're stunned, so therefore they don't attack, which means we plow through them quicker. Mm-hmm. If the mechanics of fighting is what slows us down,
it is more stuff to track because often you're not killing them they're not rolling a 1. It's instead giving them some other status effect. It's another roll.
And I guess it's something we don't know that what's happening. So we don't know the status of the roll after the hit. I'd assume not. That's something for Reagan to keep track on.
I would let you guys know what would happen. I mean, it would be pretty obvious for there's only 5 different things that can happen. There's a 10% chance of it just dropping the hit points to 0. And then there's a 20% chance of dropping it to 0 but stable. So not in a death saving state, just stable. 4 to 5 So another 20% chance of character just being stunned, and I'd just be you'd know if the character was stunned. I'd be telling you it was stunned.
Dumbfounded.
It's just
50% chance of being dumbfounded.
20% to have can't take reactions and has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until the next turn, and another 20% chance for can't take reactions until the end of its next turn. So it's not it's not huge, but it does. I don't know. I kind of like it, but I don't know if it's needed. Like, maybe we only bring this in if there's a critical hit, maybe.
I wonder if it's really fucking with all the encounter balancing. I don't know if it's making it a lot easier.
I mean, you still have to do a shit ton of damage to something. Which is a dice roll to see if it is going to be. Then they have to fail on a DC saving throw. So I don't know.
It is a 15, and normally, most often they will fail. So like if I throw a fireball in there or something, boom, and you have to.
Then you're doing that for 6 characters.
I don't know. I just wonder if it is messing with the way it's balanced. Because you always have to fudge it anyway. You know that. Like, if it becomes too easy, if you've just destroyed everyone in one hit, you go, "Oh, this guy's still alive." Tough guy. Otherwise, it was like, what's the point of like rolling initiative and all this sort of stuff and building it up?
Sure.
I don't know.
I think I'd have to see it played out to see how it felt. Because if it, like Shannon says, if it made our battles too quick, then it's like, well, we're invincible. It's no fun for us because there's no challenge. But on the counter, if you never experienced it, then once again, what's the point of having the mechanic there? So it's like,
yeah, I think if you balance them correctly, anyway, it should. You don't want to be just blasting through them just because. Or if you are blasting through them and you think, oh, the party's stronger, just make the enemies weak. Like, I like fighting minions, and they've only got 1 HP, and then you've got a couple of other tough guys or something. It just feels satisfying to just blast it.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's
pretty much like, it doesn't need to be. Maybe it's just overcomplicating something.
Yeah.
Because,
cool.
I mean, you already have that control to do something cool with it if you want. So I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it will just give me, instead of utilizing this, maybe it'll just, I can use this to give me some more flexibility and flavor for fights anyway.
Yeah. Maybe it could give you could just freestyle what you wanted to do, but use that as inspiration.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be the better way to do it. Maybe So one of the things I liked about Call of Cthulhu was you can call your shots. You can, when you go to attack something, you say, "I'm attacking the head." Or in the case of the creatures that you guys came across, you guys learnt that their weakest part was the sort of stomach area. And so that when you started attacking them, you knew to stab them in the stomach. So you say, "I'm going to attack them in the stomach." Suddenly, now you get more damage on them. So I wonder if there are things like we could use, like stunning if you target the head with a blunt instrument, that kind of thing. Just bringing in some of that flavor to make you guys, again, just to try and, it's all about trying to build some more creativity for you guys.
It is fun, like doing cool shots, and normally they will just add a few points to the check. Like
often what's saying you do it with disadvantage. Like if you call a shot, you roll it with disadvantage.
I've heard lots of different ways of doing it, but ultimately it's just making it more difficult to get the hit. Otherwise, you get nothing. It's a risk reward thing.
Yeah, I don't want to make it like if I give you guys a disadvantage for calling where on the body you're trying to hit, you're just not going to call it. You'll just go, "Sweet, I'll just do I already know I can hit it with an AC. I already know what I need to roll. Why would I take that disadvantage?" I would rather just let you guys pick and add flavor and make it fun.
You might need to make it obviously an advantage if you got them in that spot. Like
yeah.
it's a cyclops. If you get in the eye or something, then you can escape or something. It won't be able to see you, blinded, or I don't know. You're really homebrewing at that point.
Yeah, you really are. Yeah. Okay. The last one on the list was what was it? Lingerie something, Shannon. Lingering damage.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll
lingerie.
get advantage if we're wearing lingerie on the stream.
Can you get like cleavage? We got cleavage rules already. We got lingerie.
Wow.
Do you get advantage on your lingerie check if you've got cleavage mode enabled? I would think so,
We're
frankly.
both blanking at the same time.
Oh dear God.
Just what are we transitioning to in here? I'm not sure I'm on board with this content that we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't like the last one was so wholesome.
I'm just bringing up lingering injuries.
Trip
it's
over.
not on D&D Beyond. That's weird.
Oh damn! Can't use it.
So it's basically if someone gets a crit success against you, then there's a chance that you might have a lingering injury from that. Man, I'm not finding it anywhere.
Do.
Maybe this is it. Yeah. So,
Okay.
All right. So if someone crits on you, you roll a d20 and you have a chance. It must be something else that happens before that happens, though. But you can do things like if you roll a 1 on a d20, you might lose an eye.
I don't want to lose my precious eye.
That's not a lingering injury. That's permanent.
Magic.
Permanent injury.
Yeah, you're like, I'm just having this lingering problem with my eye and that it's not there anymore.
But you know, there are always magic spells that can help you regenerate a lost eye.
Really?
It'd have to be a pretty high level spell, but you might find
a lingering injury then.
Lose an arm or a hand, lose a foot or a leg.
We're just gonna. If we did this, we would just be fucking pirates, hobbling through. Yeah, because we roll one at a time. We roll.
Yeah, we are shit dice rollers.
And they all have an effect. Like losing an arm or a hand means you can't hold anything that requires two hands, like your battle. Losing a foot or a leg, your speed is halved. You can get an internal injury. So anytime you attempt an action in combat, you got to do a DC 15 Constitution saving throw. If you fail, you lose your action and you can't use a reaction. So you basically go to attack and go, and just
develop a kidney stone or something.
Yeah.
Oh, my trick knee.
And there's like broken ribs.
We'd all be like, Silda, on my knees, I can't do this, my knees. It's like, fuck.
Festering.
Yeah, imagine that, but it's all of us constantly. Sounds real cool.
A festering wound sounds really cool. Your hit point maximum is reduced by 1 every 24 hours that the wound persists. If your hit point maximum drops to 0, you die.
Just one big wound.
You just become one big wound. The wound heals if you receive magical healing, or someone can tend to the wound once every 24 hours with a medicine check. After 10 successes, the wound heals. So it takes 10 days to heal your festering wound.
I don't know about these, honestly.
Fester.
You have to count how much money it costs each time.
I do kind of want to have the ability to make you guys lose limbs and stuff.
I'm sure you do.
There was a part of Lost Mine. By the way, we just got Lachesty Rue that gave us his hosting us at the moment. So thank you so much for that, Chesty. Thank you so much. Anyway, yeah. So there was a part where Loris was prone in front of the Nothic, and he was about to it was like one roll away from taking one of Loris's legs or hands, I think it was.
Yeah, something.
And I was ready to take it, but Sig ran in to help at the last minute.
Didn't Loris lose a finger?
No, it was gonna be your entire hand. You were
No,
gonna
there
lose.
was one with the event with Carp that or somewhere along the line that I lost a finger and like
You chopped your own finger
my
by
own finger off.
trying to harass a red brand.
That's right. Yeah.
And in the same place, your balls almost got shot off.
No.
That would be a lingering wound.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good one.
I feel all these like body parts things missing have happened to me.
Yes.
So I'm now less inclined to be excited by this lingering injury thing.
So it's a no to lingering injuries.
My thoughts on it is, honestly, a bunch of these are, in my opinion, some people just really like making up more and more rules because they think that's really fun, and that's cool. I don't.
But these are all in the
like,
Dungeon Master's Guide.
I know, but
Yeah,
some people just love making things more and more layers of complex, and it's not really my jam.
Cool.
That's my 2 cents.
Cool.
But I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just like, I just don't want it to be more complicated. Like,
what's complicated about losing an eye and then finding a cleric to get it back?
But what I'm saying is you could still make that happen as a DM, but why do they have to be like a bunch, like 5 paragraphs of rules around it? Just you can make up the game. That's the whole point of the game.
Yeah.
But if you want us to lose a limb, you can just make it happen. Like you can say there was so much damage done, or like with the Nothic, Loris is lying prone. The Nothic is about to take your arm. If someone doesn't do something now, like if Sig hadn't come in, my arm was gone. No dice roll required for it. It's just the way it was.
Yeah, I kind of feel that. I don't know. I see the appeal of like people making layers and layers of rules, but I'm just kind of like, meh.
We are trying to streamline other stuff to make it faster.
It's kind of counteracting.
That's fair. But like, I guess where this thought came from was like that
chopping arms off and eyeballs.
Making
clearly you want to dismember us
a little bit, but more about like why was that Sturge encounter boring, and was it because there was no real risk from some Sturges? I don't know.
And anyway,
like, it's going to be risk.
Tougher.
Like there's 5 of us that are fairly tough and can handle ourselves. So a bunch of Sturges, whatever, that's not going to be a risk. So if you want it to be risky, make it.
My other thought is, let's say, I'm playing as America and my hand gets chopped off. Myself as a player, I'm going to be like, oh, damn, I really need to get my hand back. This is going to cripple me until my hand's back. Okay, guys, I really want us to do a side quest where we go find a way to get my frickin' hand back. That's going to be really fun for everyone. That's going to be really important to the plot. American gets her hand back, the side story. Like,
but what if
I don't want?
And can you imagine American screaming about her hand for session?
Yeah,
after
I'm like
session?
annoyed already, about myself.
Shannon, sorry, your audio was not being prioritized at all just then. So what were you saying?
I didn't want to bet it. I was just saying, like, unless you make it so you can't get your hand back.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's gone.
It would just be a bunch of hobbling pirates with wood heads.
And I think actually that would probably be something you would want to discuss in a session 0 type thing of like, are you okay with like being, losing a limb? Because that could be like a bit too real for people if they didn't like the idea of their character kind of having their hands and feet.
I mean, if you don't like your character losing limbs, then you're not going to like them dying.
Well, I know, but like what I'm saying is that is quite a graphic thing to happen. That also happens to people in real life, terrible things.
So
for some players,
that might be.
Though. No, but that can be like a cartoon death. Yes, you died, but this is like. I'm just saying, like, people can get triggered by different things. That might be something they really can't stand. Or someone that happened to someone close to them, like it's a thing.
It's safe to say American doesn't want to be losing limbs.
I think it's pretty safe to say.
I mean, no one would really want to, but I'm saying, is there? I don't know. I just don't know if there's much point to it, especially if it slows the game down.
It's about raising the stakes, right?
Steals your hand, and you have to come like grab your hand off them.
It's about giving more reasons to have raised stakes instead of it just being like, oh, there's a chance my character's just going to lose HP and die. It's kind of like, well, I may not get to a death state, but I might lose something that I don't want to lose. Like, it's the same as like, what if someone comes and steals all of your weaponry in the night?
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying nothing bad should ever happen to characters, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm just raising points.
Yeah.
How do you lose a limb? What do you have to roll to lose a limb?
It would have to be pretty bad.
No,
I would tell
scenario?
you, but it's not showing up in D&D Beyond, so...
Just like they attack you, you botch, and then you roll to lose a limb.
So I think from what I remember from when I was reading it in the DNG, it had to happen on a crit. Like, so if an enemy hit you with a critical success, and then it was like another roll that you had to fail, and then it was a roll on the D20 to see what kind of damage happened.
Two D20s after that, because that would happen, I'm guessing, quite often to us.
You reckon?
Yeah. How many times we get crit hit?
That's all you
well against us.
and then you
Whatever. I've rolled so few crits against you guys.
No.
The point is, if you build it into the game, there's a chance it can happen. So,
Yeah.
I think
does
also
anyone want that in the game? Is the question.
Yeah, I think it needs higher stakes, like as in I had some big NPC and everyone loved him because he was like a maniac, and he had gone through like a year or something of playing with them. Then he botched it, he got a 1, and then so I make him roll a D100, he got a 1. Right? I rolled it again and he got another 1.
Damn.
So this one made his sword, his very special black sword, just break, and the second one made that blade bounce back and slice his head off. So it was just dead because what are the odds of rolling a fail and then a 1 and then a 1? It's pretty low odds.
Yeah,
that's high stakes.
That's high stakes. He says that just killed me.
Less likely to happen than you getting a crit hit you and then you roll a fail on a save and then you have to pick from a 20 of like which body part you lose.
Well, no, you wouldn't get to choose. I just roll the dice and it would happen.
Yeah, like it's just 2 D20s.
Yeah, but that's a pretty high chance comparing to 2 1s on a D100. He crit successes. You fail on
I need
a
to
check.
I need to find the actual rules. I don't. They're in the book upstairs behind Joe. So some reason they're not. For some reason they're not. It's something that's popping up on Google for some reason.
Okay. Oh, wait, is it in the Curse of Strahd book? I'll get spoilers.
No, it's in just the Dungeon Master's guide.
Oh.
But yeah, for some reason it's not really popping up.
I mean, I can try and find it.
Oh man. Yeah, do you want to just go grab it? Because I could be getting wrong. I'm just really just remembering it from. So page. Oh wait, till she. Yeah, page 272. Oh, she's plugged it back in. Joe, it was page 272.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lingering massive damage.
It's next to massive damage. It's to the left of it.
Injuries.
Lingering injuries.
Energy. Okay, yeah. Doo. Lingering injuries. What do you want to know?
just read like how the roll comes about.
Okay. So, when you take a critical hit, or when it drops to 0 hit points but isn't killed outright, or when it fails a death saving throw by 5 or more, roll on the lingering injuries table.
So that's it. So, yeah, okay, that's bad because like every single crit you instantly get something.
Yeah, and it's stuff like losing limbs and internal injuries and scars and
scars is not so bad.
Scars are okay, but
it says horrible scars.
Yeah, disfiguring.
You are disfigured. No, you are just. But I mean, that has effects for roleplay, obviously. So
Especially
you're
like you're already
disfigured to
hideous.
the extent that the wound can't be easily concealed. You have a disadvantage on charisma checks and advantage on intimidation checks. So imagine if you're like, I've built this, like, my dream is to play like a charismatic bard, and you just like, you get a horrible scar, and you're like,
But that's so what? Like, okay, so in Adventure Zone, there's like one of the characters is like this little pretty boy elf. And they go through this thing, and they have to give up things to move forward, and there's a big wheel they have to spin, and the thing that it lands on for him is his beauty. They take away his beauty forever. And that was what's that? Sorry.
How often does that happen?
That was just at this one point, but I'm just talking about taking away something that you've built up a character. It's like, so what? Like,
yeah, but what I'm saying is, in the session 0, we talked through, like, you have to have an agreement on how gritty things you want them to be. So, I mean, it's just part of that contract that you talk through with.
Yeah, and we've had our session 0 and no one brought anything up.
About
I'm
losing.
pretty sure we did talk about stuff, but I'm trying. You sound like very annoyed that I'm even discussing the issue, honestly.
I'm definitely not annoyed. It's just, you're right. You know, we had a session 0 to talk about things where if people were against anything, to bring them up in that session. And nothing about losing limbs or...
Well, I guess it's the kind of thing that you didn't think about.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
that we didn't think about.
Yeah.
I think the possibility of losing a limb every battle, like potentially, we get because realistically, it's possible that you go to hit us, you roll a 20. There's that risk that maybe a 1d10 after you get a crit, we lose a limb. Well, potentially, Loris could be walking around with no hands. He literally can't hold an axe. What's the point?
I feel like it's just so much potential for like disruption of people. I don't know. I'm not into it.
I'm just going to put a cross next to this one. I think.
I feel like you're being so sarcastic, and I'm trying to discuss it.
No, I'm serious. Like,
I'm just trying to discuss it normally.
No, that's totally. I'm not being sarcastic.
I don't think it's a viable option for us going forward. It would just be too fraught with mess.
Reagan, your example was like, hey, it happened in this Adventure Zone one time when they went to this very special area, and this happened. What this rule is, every time you go into a dying state, you miss it. If you roll a 5.
I wasn't comparing the lingering injuries to that thing. I was comparing the fact that Joe mentioned having a character built up to a certain level over a year and then losing looks and losing a charisma point.
Like, they will go into it knowing the stakes, you know, like, should I spin the wheel or not? Whereas, like,
they didn't get a choice. That wheel got spun for them.
Sure, but like this rule is obviously for short games where people get fucked up.
Okay.
They will have like legs and peg legs and.
Also, like the Tomb of Annihilation kind of thing that you just go and you're out to beat the crap out of everything, and you're gonna get messed up. And you go, okay, fine. I'm gonna go into battles regularly, so if I come out with one arm missing, that's how it happens. But I think this is a longer campaign where we're probably going to need, or we're going to encounter things that, if you're doing this, we're going to be walking around on our hands and knees, or like, dragging ourselves along.
Yeah, and it's like, it just seems like a little bit much.
Yeah, it's not heroic.
I'm not. I don't have a side in this fight either. Like,
just dragging his body along by one arm, and he when he wants to fight, he just go, hang on a second.
The whole point was to see what you guys thought of these rules, not like these are rules we're having. And it's clear that it's like, no, thank you. What's that?
I actually love it.
It's funny when you raised it in the Discord. I was like, oh yeah, I can handle a shoulder injury. That's cool. Yeah, I've thrown my shoulder out. I can cope with that.
Something like that.
So, Octoboss just mentioned in the chat, after 3 sessions into Curse of Strahd, the first time he played it, his rogue had his tongue cut out.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. That would be like crossing the line for me. That's disgusting. I mean, that would stress me out beyond belief.
Okay.
Like, just seems like violating to me.
Especially when one of the rogue's key things is deception. Like, that seriously fucks up his core ability.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that's the wrong way to play the game, or that's not fun for some people. But I want to say, like, when we talked about level of cartoon to grimdark, I'm like, not cutting tongue out level of grimdark.
That's fair. That is fair.
Let it be said.
Yeah. Tongues will not be removed.
No, I think if you're going to do something like that, you want to be playing around with like for me, you want to be playing with like your subsidiary abilities. I don't want Loris's core ability to be killed in the first 4 or 5 sessions, or even in the 10th session, because what's my point?
Yeah.
Then I have to rethink of what Loris is going to do, and he's not going to be that good at it because he doesn't have the ability.
The thing is, you guys are all thinking about these losses of limbs as a permanent thing. Just like Octoboss mentioned, he then got a magic tongue. In Adventure Zone, when he lost his looks, he used like a spell to just give him back his looks almost instantly. And one of the characters lost a limb and grew like a tree arm.
So I'm thinking of the number of times that we met in any one of the campaigns we've played that we've met anybody with that magical power, or come close to someone, or even having a hint of it.
I feel like you guys are losing trust in the DM. I wouldn't just be like, now you've got no arms, so have fun with that, guys. It's like,
well, my point is that let's say you're like, okay, you've lost. Characters can lose arms, but it's not that hard to get them back, or like something. But what's the point? I don't want to spend time on like finding my lost arm or getting back a tree branch instead of an arm or something. I just want to follow the plot.
Especially after we had the conversation of trying to keep things moving along. So American loses an arm. We spend a month trying to find a healer. This is going
to be really awkward if in the book someone loses an arm now.
Yeah, big time.
It doesn't have to be. I think you're treating this like, I don't know. I'm just trying to have a normal conversation about it. I'm not like trying to have an ideologically intense discussion. I'm not going to like curl up on a ball on the floor if like something bad happens at the game. Don't worry.
If something bad happens and it's part of the story, then that makes sense.
But you guys won't know if it's part of the story.
And that's up to you. If it's just you lose an arm because of a battle and then you've got to spend 6 episodes getting a...
I think it has to be cool.
Lost a hand. He's going to spend a ton of energy trying to get that battle, because he doesn't know how to do it. And if it's going to affect his battle ability or his ability to defend himself and his friends, he's going to spend a lot of time trying to solve it, which then detracts from what we're supposed to be doing, or I don't know.
I just bring up another. Sorry to bring up examples of my previous DMing thing, there was one guy's goal was to get this diamond hammer that would cause a wish if you smashed it, and they went through all this stuff for ages, and they finally got to the place that had the hammer, and the guy was all made out of robotic parts and stuff like that. He like stuck himself together, and he said, "Okay, I'll give you the diamond hammer if you give me your hands." But he was going to give him, mechanical hands. So he had to think about and he was a he was a dwarf that made jewelry, so he needed his hands. So it was like, is this worth it or isn't it? This is a decision for the character. But I think if you just randomly roll and you lose your hands, it's not as satisfying. I don't know.
Yeah, it's totally. And that's what all this was like here's an optional rule. What do you guys think of it? And it's plain that we just don't use this rule. Like that is,
don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it.
I mean, and that is totally fine. We will not use that rule. It doesn't mean limbs are off, are never going to be risked. Like
no.
There still has to be an unknown of what is going to happen in this.
But I think the trust we have in you is that you would do it and make it dramatic enough and serious enough event, rather than just going, "Oh, you've been crit hit, roll a dice."
It's just so random.
It just feels
and then
random.
It happens like 3 times in the battle, and you're like, "Okay, you lost your arm, you lost your foot, you're disfigured, Bill. Sorry, okay."
But I do think there's something there's something powerful to taking away something that a character cherishes.
Yes, but not at the roll of a dice. That's the difference. So if you did it and said, "Hey, this has happened. You've lost a hand, you've lost an arm, you've lost whatever, you've lost an ear. Let's say something that's not really that bad." But if it happened because a goblin hit me critical and I rolled a d10 and I lose him, I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I think you could even
4 times
or something like that without even having to roll. Like if you had caused some sort of series of bad decisions, and then you cornered some thief or something, and they were behind you, and you just had fucked up so badly in your decisions that caused some sort of injury like that.
Yeah,
it's more dramatic than going, oh, now roll a d20.
so
It's kind of like the what's
random
that system? The +1, +2
proficiency.
I forgot. Yeah. No, the good behavior, bad behavior.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. You know, so shit happens. The DM goes, "Hey, that's bad enough to warrant this, or good enough to warrant that." So it's that kind of level, I think.
You guys effectively lost a limb in the Lost Mine of Phandelver. You guys lost Gundren. He got murdered in front of you. That was effectively like losing a limb.
That's from a bad decision, right?
Yeah. That wasn't really in the story. That was because you guys messed up.
I don't.
But
mind
it was in the story
that
that guy would kill Gundren if we messed up, and we messed up.
Yeah, but
and
I mean,
he actually mattered, so...
Yeah, but like there would be DMs, and I know that there are DMs that are like, you can't kill Gundren because he's going to be helping you out. Like, I could have just played it that way.
That's the point. Like, we make bad decisions.
Yeah.
You react accordingly.
Yeah.
And I think that's better than the dice making a real random decision, because it's it's like a random encounter. It happens. It doesn't have a purpose.
Someone in the chat said, with a lot of sarcasm to their text, from what I can see, is, yeah, we can't have stuff happen at the roll of a dice in D&D.
Right. You can totally die from rolls of dice and everything, but this is just, it seems arbitrary, this rule of losing body, because I think they should have more of a dramatic effect, like, hey, you lost an eye and there's some irony in there because you're an artist, or or like that. But if you rolling on the table to see which body part you lose, it's just too there's no irony or a real dramatic effect.
Yeah, and my point is, like, okay, let's say, like an axe wielder, he loses his hand, and it's like, okay, he can't use the weapon that he's sort of based his character on, or that his character identifies with, and it's like, okay, so he'd be really motivated to get it back. So you're kind of derailing off because of this roll of a die, that all of a sudden the motivation of some of the party has changed, and maybe you spend a bunch of time trying to get it back, and I'm like, what's the point? I don't know.
So my thoughts on this, now that I've talked to you guys about it, when I first just had a look at it, like with you can actually get permanent damage from this kind of thing, but it can be over time magically healed. I didn't think there was too much wrong with it, but I think you guys have sort of pointed out how damaging it can be. What if I was to run something similar? It would be things like, on a crit you roll and you might lose the movement, you might hurt your arm, injure your arm until this fight is over. That kind of thing.
An injury like that, you get a cut, you bruise yourself, or you twist an elbow, or you dislocate your shoulder.
Yeah,
well, that happens. It's
kind of
happens
thing.
in the fight. That sort of shit. Yeah.
It's almost, you know how when you guys roll a crit fail, we do a D100 to see how bad it is. It's almost saying, look, there's now a D10 that you have to roll if an enemy does a crit success on you, and it'll just mean that it's that crit has now affected the battle in a big way.
Don't mind that.
It might mean that now you've only got one arm to fight with for that battle. It hasn't been cut off. It's just been severely damaged.
That's what a lingering injury would be to me. Losing your arms is like a whole nother level of...
It's permanent. Well, not permanent, but requires a lot of effort.
Of the limb.
A lingering injury, it lasts for an hour.
How far do you go? You're like, oh, okay, you have to roll for when you're lying down, and you get up for a battle because you see if your leg has gone to sleep.
I love it. I do love how brutal the festering wound is. I hate it as a mechanic, but I love how brutal.
What's that one?
That is like you lose.
Like you're losing HP every day.
You lose max
like
HP every day.
Oh, Jesus.
But like that's for a wound to fester. It literally has to have been left unattended for like over a week. For an extended period of time for something to get to that bad. So it's like, well, you literally have to go, I got a cut. Don't worry about giving me any healing potions. I'm not going to wrap it up. I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah.
Because
it's kind of like, would it be fun for that one player who just hits that chance roll, gets a festering wound. Everyone else in the party's fine, but they're like essentially gimped for how long?
10
Like
days.
forever
10
or like
days. We've got to make 10 health saves.
so like
or
no
something.
battles are going to be fun for them for the X amount of time.
For like 10 in-game days. Like, it's brutal.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know. I just don't see it as fun
You
myself.
just be like, I kill my character. I'm rolling a new character.
Yeah, my character goes home. He's got a festering wound.
10 in-game days lasts like
Why?
almost 4 months for us.
Yeah.
That's like 4 months of play where you literally would not be able to do anything in a battle. You'd be fine.
Yeah,
So-
it would just kind of bum
Your
bum
tank
me
gets
out.
a festering gash on his leg. Your
Yeah.
tank goes home.
Yeah.
Leaving the bard and the minstrel and the wizard to
Yeah.
fight off this horde of
It's like
ogres.
he shrugs, a tear rolls down his eye, and he just walks out of the cave.
Brings it up for the rest of his days how it killed his heroing in career. That one bloody festering wound.
Yeah.
Sitting in the bar, see that scar? That wound ended my career.
I was about to go see like a vampire, maybe vanquish a boy. I don't know.
So what are your thoughts on, again, this is not something we have to run with, but what are your thoughts on something where crits can affect how you guys fight?
It's fine.
Is it, or
I
is it
don't mind.
overcomplicating things?
I don't like overcomplication, but if someone else is running it, I'm like, overcomplicate away.
It's more of a complicated for you because you can say, look, this guy's done a crit hit. I rolled a d10 and the subsequent wound or subsequent injury, you know, you've done your shoulder in, or you've got a limp for the next, for the rest of the battle at half your movement. Okay, that's a pain in the ass, but I have to deal with it because it happened in the battle.
Are you doing, because like crit damage, you know, if someone rolls a crit against someone, is that a house rule that you're getting crit damage? Because I don't think in the normal standard rules you're getting like double damage or anything, right?
Well, a crit, if you do a crit success, you do double dice plus.
You do double dice. Is that the normal rule?
I believe so, yeah.
Doing that double dice plus you get some sort of status effect.
Possibly. Yeah. No, not with a crit, yes. Yeah.
Fun.
And that's why it's like, this is why I'm just like discussing it. If it's not fun, then I don't want to do it. It's as simple as that.
I mean, it's definitely fun if you're doing it. Like, now he's all dizzy.
I'm just well aware that I'm trying to even up. You guys are quite powerful players, and I'm going to be doing a lot of scaling to try and figure out how I can, because there's 5 people. Most of these campaigns are made for a team of 4, so it's like you've already got 1 extra person. You're already higher level than you should be, and I need to try and scale it for that. I'm just trying to find ways to make it feel a little bit harder for you guys. I'd hate for everything to feel too easy. We'll start with no hands and feet.
Yeah, and then maybe we can gain hands and feet as we go along.
I think if you add just the battle statuses,
We all start as the baby version of Deadpool, where like he hasn't grown his legs out yet.
Yeah.
Because all our limbs got chopped off, and we roll a d20 to see how much we regenerate each day.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get some
Daredevil image right there. Oh, not Daredevil. I'm taking it off.
Deadpool.
The other dude in the red. No, not Daredevil. The other dude in the red.
We didn't say Daredevil. We said Deadpool.
No, Deadpool. Yes, thank you. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, Daredevil.
Deadpool.
Deaddevil.
Daredevil.
Devil Pool. Was
Devil
it?
Pool. Yes, that guy. Yeah. I mean, if you want to you can make the fight harder just by leveling up when you're leveling up.
Oh, he's gone again. Dave,
Fiddling the numbers.
You need better internet connection, Dave.
Yeah, that sounds like someone's streaming shit, or both of them are.
Right.
Bloody hell, Monday night. Come on.
How dare they?
So what were you saying? Sorry, Dave, do you want to try again?
I was just saying, so I mean, if you rather than just adding more complicated status stuff to attacks, you can simply just make them stronger characters. You have more HP, you have higher hits. I mean, if you wanted to do it that way.
Higher HP, I've been thinking about this as well. Giving an enemy more HP just makes a fight last longer. It doesn't make it harder. It just makes it longer.
Having more
That's
enemies
Is more of the same.
you
Yeah.
chuck in a couple of extra ones, it becomes way harder.
Yeah. Giving
And
them,
also, a lot of enemies have multiple attacks.
yeah. Giving them more different attacks, I guess, as well, is instead of just having them. Oh, these guys, like we had with the goblins, they were all just like they attack with their bow and arrow, or they attack with their short bow or short sword. And what that ended up with was just Sig getting up close and taking all these things. But if there was one goblin sorcerer that just kept doing magic attacks on Sig from range, that would have messed him up. So we're trying to have to make sure we do some of that.
The interesting thing about that fight was that they had set up like a big trap that let loose the dam. I mean, that's goblins thinking smart. At the start
that one,
of the,
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily about like, having a really hard battle. It's more about having an interesting battle.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think there's going to be a lot of work required to make sure this.
I used to make my ones get almost die every battle, and I think it can get really tiring.
Oh shit! Yeah,
and also like, what's the point?
Yeah.
In the end, like you can have a short battle that has some interesting twist to it, which is be more memorable than like, hey, I fell into a dying state, you fell into a dying state, and we just survived. I mean, that can be good for a big, finale or something. But for every sort of battle, it's more fun if there's like a big fire pit in the middle and someone's throwing shit. I don't know, whatever you can think of.
Like I thought the Flame Skull fight was interesting. Because the coolest thing about that Flame Skull is if you guys had just gone, okay, all right, we won't cross the room, and just turned around, he would have gone, good, and just left you alone. That was his rule set was basically he just doesn't let anyone cross the room. Doesn't matter if they started on the west and wanted to go to the east, or if they started on the east and wanted to go. He just would not let people cross the room. That was it. And
it's
so
interesting that you have to figure out that rule set, right? And and also he was freaky, like you see, because you don't know what he's up to, how powerful he is, or anything.
Yeah. It was really interesting, and I don't know if it's just a D&D thing or something that I need to learn to adjust. Which is, I tried to let you guys see that these things were powerful and to leave them alone, and everything was just a challenge. It was just like, we can do it. We can do it.
A problem with players.
Yeah. Because I think what's that? Sorry.
People have played video games.
Yeah.
Every video game level you come across, you're like, well, they've put a challenge in front of me that I am obviously able to conquer because that's the point of the game. But also, like, I mean, how would you gauge how magically powerful someone was?
He did one fireball that messed you all up.
Yeah, no, but how are you meant to know that before he attacks you? There's no way of knowing.
He's a floating skull.
We should all have those scanners like Dragon Ball Z things that's like testing their power level.
I'll throw that question right back to you guys. How would your characters know if because it's not even players now? How would your characters know that something is too powerful?
I've got an idea.
Tell me, Joe. What's your idea?
Classic film trope. How do the main characters know that? Or how do the viewers even know that Darth Vader is a scary boy? He blows up a planet, but it doesn't have the main characters on it, but you know that he's the worst. And also he chokes a guy, and you're like, oh, he's scary and bad. But it didn't happen to Luke yet. Which is, but we know now because he did it to someone else first.
See, that works for like a big bad villain. But how do you show characters that a random monster that you found in a dungeon is like?
Well, a green skull could just be like fucking smashing some bugbears when we walk in there. Just
there we go. That's a good because in the pamphlet or the book for it, it does mention that like a lot of bugbears have died to this thing. And you guys didn't even, and you eventually learnt that because you were John's character was eavesdropping on them and talking to them as if he was a bugbear, and they were amazed he was alive. But that was learnt afterwards. Now, if you guys had come up from the west and you would have heard them talking about the flame skull and how dangerous it was, but you came in from the east and didn't hear that. So you're right. You're right. So I need to make sure that if there is something that I want you guys to, I don't know, be aware of its power, then I need to show its power. I think that's cool.
I guess you could see someone like punching a rock they're training or something, just like punching a bolt, exploding it.
I think though you don't need to show the power all the time. Like it's actually kind of relevant to walk into a room and there's a flaming skull there. We don't necessarily have to know that it's super strong. Something saying, "Hey, don't pass," usually means don't pass. If we're stupid enough to go, "Nah, fuck you, we're going to take you on."
Yeah. And to be fair, the entire area was covered in dead bodies.
Yeah.
That's it,
and we
though.
knew that, ignored it.
Just if you live in a magical world where like a floating skull could happen, like we've already seen magical things happen, there's no real reason for the character to assume that it's extremely powerful because I've seen some wacky stuff like that before. And you also can't just have the skull say, "Back off, I'm very powerful," because he could be bluffing. So the only way you really can say it, like show it, if you need to show it, you have to do something.
There's always the opportunity for I guess what I was looking when I asked that was, what do your characters know about evil beings as well? Because surely living in this fantasy world, there have been books about evil, and there would have been nursery rhymes or fairy tales about a lot of these creatures. So they're not things that you're stumbling. You're not the first people to see a flame skull. You're not the first person to see an owlbear.
Mythology, right? Like, if there's a Medusa, I reckon that most people would have heard of a Medusa and known, shit, don't they turn you to stone or something,
So maybe you need to tell us, like, you've heard an old nursery rhyme about flaming skulls fucking you up.
Yeah.
Be careful.
I prefer the show don't tell, though. What was that, Shannon? Sorry, Whereby is hating your audio tonight.
I talked over you by accident. I was just forget it.
Okay. we need to sort out why Whereby hates your audio so much. I don't know. I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Anyone else talking is fine, but as soon as you start talking and someone else is, then your audio just gets pushed to the background.
I think it takes turns.
It's been you the whole night.
Today, but other days it's other people for me.
I'm going to move you to a different position on screen and see if that fixes it. I doubt it.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm going to switch to the old version.
Oh, you're not even on the old version?
To be fair though, Regan, that flame skull battle was funny. It was really well done, and we all enjoyed it. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And I think had you made it more obvious that he was powerful and was going to fuck us up, we would have just left, and that would
fucking Dave, get some.
That session would have been. I mean, I don't know where we would have gone.
Your internet, man. We need to get that sorted, dude. We can't have that happening.
Girls streaming.
What are we going to do on a Monday night when we go live and this is happening every time you try to talk?
It'll be fine.
Do you have an Ethernet port? Do you have an Ethernet port?
Can you just restrict their bandwidth? Get into the modem settings and just restrict those devices.
I think my TV in the bedroom and our flatmate's laptop is better than mine. So
we'll go on your TV.
I'll crowdfund for a new TV.
Yeah, we need some solution to that because it's not going to sound good for podcasts. It's not going to be good for people trying to watch, and it's going to be really frustrating if it's your turn, and even for us as
hasn't happened for ages. Like tonight's just really bad.
Just tell them to set their settings to like 480p for whatever they're watching. So back to the thing. I think I prefer out of the two ideas that you guys mentioned. So we've got like the your character remembers fairy tales about this creature or whatever your character knows about it. That's really boring. That is just me telling you. I like the idea of showing. I really like the idea of how can I, if there's a big thing that appears, how can I show its power a bit better, I think, than just trying to explain it to you guys.
How
It's
does
a
it
tricky
flex?
one.
Yeah, it just flexes.
You don't want your players to avoid every challenging fight because you've shown that the baddie is hard.
No, but
I
like,
mean, conversely, you don't want them running in thinking that they can beat it, and it actually is not designed to be beaten, and it just kills everyone.
Yeah, if it's something that is obviously like, fuck, you want your players to run away from it, and like a dragon or something, you know, maybe that's the time that you go, fuck, it just burns an entire village or something.
yeah, I think again, like always, I think I'm overthinking it. I think there's plenty of ways for me to be able to show. If some, I don't even know if you're going to be coming across anything that is unkillable. You might. It'll depend on what level you are when you enter an area, and it might just be a matter of thing A just picks Loris up by his skull and throws him out of the room. It's just like you guys are all like, "Oh shit, okay."
Just dead.
It's just,
So it's like, that's a
Yeah, I
good
think I've
example.
made my point.
No, I was
Like, roll.
overthinking it.
Maybe-
Just kill them.
no, maybe not killing, but like just showing that maybe you're not quite the right level for
But
something.
you don't want that sort of shit. You can't just have like it doesn't roll. It just like picks you up and biffs you out. But I do think on that conversely, you want to be able to beat something that is really powerful if you got a good plan.
Sure. But I mean, I guess what I'm saying is because Curse of Strahd isn't linear, you are able to go into areas that are well above your level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
I'm
that needs
making
to just
two
be
backup characters is what I'm getting from this.
So I mean, you can.
R.I.P. American.
Reagan, do you remember when John said to us when he was DMing Stormkeep's Thunderlight, he told there will be times where you need to run.
Yes.
And he made us very clear to remember that because early on we were like, "Ah!" and we were kicking ass and had a great time. And he's like, just to remember, guys, there will be times where you need to run. There are battles that you cannot win.
Yeah.
And running is a valid option. And that was something that we needed to remember. And we used it a couple of times.
Again,
But
like,
it's like-
yeah, I remember that really well. But one thing I don't think John did was let us know when those moments were. Because again, we're so used to being like, we killed like a giant. And then suddenly the town is surrounded by giants. And it's like, well, we killed one. Can we kill
Let's do 20.
Can we kill more? And I think we were just meant to leave the village to be destroyed, but we rolled really well and we deceived them, killed some, and then deceived them into making it think that we were more powerful than we were.
We got creative, but I think
Yeah.
there's a way, and I don't quite know how you do it, but there's a way that you can sort of go, right, there's 5 of you, you're at this level, this guy is, well, these people are monstrous. They're going to destroy to make that obvious without sort of saying you need to run.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, maybe a way you
tricky
present it.
Yeah. Random Origins just says you need to bring Brain on a rope everywhere you go. Because you guys used that because you were being really cautious at that
We're
time. You
very
couldn't
cautious
see,
players.
You couldn't see what was down in that dark area, and you're like, "Oh God, there's something. I think there's zombies in there." And instead of just charging
If
him,
merch, if you're ever going to sell merch, it would be like Brain on a rope.
Brain on a
Sell
rope.
one of those.
Like soap on a rope and a brain.
Yeah.
That's
Brain on a rope was great. That was one of my favorite moments from Lost Mine. That was just so good.
I think, like Shannon says here, we are pretty cautious in the way we do things.
Yeah.
And that's probably why we are so slow. So we're not likely just to charge into things unless we're clear that we think we can beat them and we've had a chat about it, or we've sort of gone as a group, we can do this. And even if one of us says, "Oh, I'm not so sure," we tend to back away. It's just
Yeah, we like to get some intel, I think. And if we could spy on someone and then we see him like punch a rock and it explodes, then we go, yeah, he is tough. I thought so. Or if he punches a rock and gets a saw, nothing.
Yeah.
But, he's just angry,
Yeah,
but he's
we're gonna
having
fuck
to
this
back
guy
it up.
up.
Loris will still be. I could take him, and I'm sure the rest of it like, no, dude, later. No.
Well, maybe we should just send Loris in all the time, and while we hide behind.
That's how you gauge. That's how you gauge how strong something is. Just send Loris in.
Is he going to pick Loris up by the skull and throw him out the door?
Loris gets thrown out the door. We know you've got to run.
Just
You'll be
like,
oh, by the way, Loris, can you roll 4 times on this critical injury table? Oh, you've lost an eye, a leg, a festering wound, and you're disfigured.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just his head comes back. Because,
He's
take
stuck,
me
mate.
to the hospital.
Find me the nearest cleric. Oh, he's about 6 days away. Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Cauterize the wound.
Just chuck him in the campfire. He's all good.
That would be like, then we could have like a brain on a rope. It would be just Loris's head on a rope. Just
Yeah, we
throw
can
it.
use it, like have it on a string and like
Just hold
throw
it.
it at people and hit them.
Loris would still be like real full of himself.
Just
so
full
he'd be like, "I'm gonna
angry."
Fuck him up.
Yeah.
Throw him in.
Yeah, he's like, throw me! Throw me!
Head. Swing me. I don't care.
I'll bite him.
Be like, your head looks soft compared to mine. Throw me!
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
We should do it.
I'm into it.
See, now lingering injuries is a good idea, huh? Okay.
Only if you're
I
going to
never
allow
thought about
Loris
it
to
this
have like
way.
a head. The comedic value of having my head on a rope. I'm not even sure how you'd attach it, to be fair. Would you like
I
plug
want-
it through my ears?
I really
Well,
want
the
that
rope would go
moment
right
now.
through the ears.
I really want this moment in the new campaign. We need this moment in the new campaign. Oh my god.
Yeah. Loris had better have an almighty dismemberment, or else I'm not going to be happy about it.
Shannon, by the way, I don't know if it's because you switched over to the old version or not, but your audio is just fine now.
Is it?
Yeah, completely fine.
Okay. Well, I'll remember to go to the old version.
No one seems to be getting cut out now, which is good. So the new
Maybe
version
it's Shannon's
sucks.
audio that does it all.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'm the typhoid Mary or something with audio problems.
I don't think there was any other optional rules that I want shit on tonight. So thankfully, they're not my ideas. They're just optional stuff. I
liked the majority of them.
That
I
is
think.
true. Yeah, I really like the so I think we're all keen on flanking. We're all keen on the cleaving rule. I know Loris is.
Hell yeah.
And what was there was actually that might be it actually.
No, it was another one, wasn't it?
Maybe exhaustion, but I don't know if that's going to come up much.
I think that's the point of exhaustion. It rarely ever comes up, and it's
Yeah.
only if you're really pushing it.
Which is good. Again, that's not something like you want to come up every session. It's not something,
No.
oh, now you can't do this, and now you can't do that for everyone every step of the way.
And it also would make us think, shit, maybe we need to get like a car or call an Uber.
We did spend a bit of money for a car.
Yeah, okay. Well, that might be a good sort of last thing to think about as well, because traveling long distances, we sort of talked about this in regards to random encounters earlier. How do you guys want to deal with long traversals? Let's say you are on foot, and I tell you guys it's going to take 3 days to get somewhere, but realistically, there's no penalty for going on foot versus investing in a cart. Like, how do I make...
If you said to us we're going to go by foot, well, logically we're going to go, we'll travel for 12 hours, we'll sleep, we'll carry on. And then you've got to make the decision, do you travel or do you keep traveling?
I don't want to
That's,
roll
you know-
36 different random encounters, you know?
I have never wanted to walk.
Yeah.
It's Byron.
If you said, I'm going to walk 3 days, we're like, right, we're getting horses. I think that, we need to find
Yeah.
transport
Where is
first.
my couch? Remember?
Yeah, that's
I want
right.
that
That's
couch.
right.
What? Couch?
I think
I don't know if that's a secret. Is that a secret? I don't think so. It's just silly.
What?
You know my couch. Hey, Reagan.
Wait, do I know your couch?
Yeah. He said, "Oh, what do you want?" And I was like,
Oh,
want a
that's
fucking-
that's right. That's
I
right.
want a couch that I can lie on and will just walk
Yeah.
for me
Oh,
long
want that too.
distances. That'd be sweet. Never came.
Yeah, so the horses that never came. I gave you guys horses in the Lost Mine of Phandelver because, like, I didn't know how to solve that issue of, like, the time periods to get everywhere. So I was just like, fuck it, Duran's going to give you his horses. There was no mention he ever had horses ever.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you can use my horses. It's like, there you go.
Apple powered.
Yeah. Actually, they would have been. So yeah, it's need to make long. I just don't know. There are certain parts of D&D that still just kind of confuse me. Money being one of the things in shopping, and just long distance travel. It makes sense. It makes total sense if you're doing random encounters, because you'll have fewer random encounters if you're traveling faster. Just makes sense. But you don't want to, because you check every hour, you roll every hour for random encounters. If it only takes you
less hours,
it takes fewer hours to get to the location on a
fewer
faster means.
But even on horseback, a 3-day foot journey is still going to take a day and a half or a day.
Yeah,
so that's still 24 hours. Yes, if you're going to ride solidly for 24 hours, that's 24 potential encounters.
But that's better than 36.
If you're traveling really fast, the faster you go, the bigger the mess. We would, if we bang into like a werewolf at top speed.
You don't want that.
Random encounter.
I don't know. I think right now, like we've been in the town for 3 years, or Loris has been in town for 3 years. I can't remember what the others have done. Logically, you'd expect that he's probably been outfitted, or he's maybe we've bought our own horses by now. We've had the income from a mine for 3 years, so.
Can Loris go on a horse? I just imagine that his feet touch the ground.
I always saw too when Darren gave us the horses, and you're not listening.
Like one of those toddlers on the those bikes that they sort of just run with.
Yeah, I thought that when Darren first
I like to just think that the horse's back breaks.
Yeah, he'd have to 7'3".
Sits on it and it's like, oh no, its career's over.
Just a big Clydesdale.
Have we seen Shaquille O'Neal on a horse?
No.
What does that look like?
Google it. I'm sure it's happened.
That has to be somewhere, right? Surely Shaquille O'Neal has been on a horse. I'm just going to type Shaq on a horse.
Oh, God.
Shaq on a horse. Shaq's been on a horse.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. What kind of a horse?
In the ground.
There's an. I'll see if I can bring this up. Open a new tab window. Here we go. Oh,
important research.
I mean, this is pretty important.
Yeah, I think it's important. So otherwise, I'm just imagining something really silly.
I mean, it's not as silly as I thought it would be.
Well,
horses can be 14 or 15 hands high, which I don't know. It's like
that's
how tall would 7'3"? I don't quite know.
How many feet is that?
That's what I don't know.
God damn it! What's this? Like, Google has stopped it from being easy just to see shit these days, haven't they?
Is it? What are you looking for?
What are you doing?
No, as in like you do an image search and you used to be able to just like click on it and it would give you the image, but now it takes you to the page where the image is, and so I need to.
Now you've ended up Shaq's horse riding adventure.
It's
.com.
Here we go. We've got the address for it now. This is going to be. Wish I put it. I'll put it in the chat. Click that link, guys, and I'll also bring it up just for the.
Very important. So just imagine that he's like grey with blue tattoos, and we'll have Loris on our hands.
So he looks.
He
looks alright. Just looks like Shaq on a horse.
That horse looks bowed as fuck. Look at the bow on the horse.
It's a fairly big horse.
Its back.
Its back
bowed.
is.
Yeah. It's like a cartoon. Look at its eyes. They're glazed over. It's staring far away.
They had to give it some.
When will the pain end?
Give it some
I think
horse
the horse would
tranquilizers.
see Loris walking up to it and be like, "Not on your fucking life."
Drop some horse apples.
Yeah, I don't know,
Just
man.
get a fantasy horse. They grow him extra big for Goliath. It's fine.
I mean, Shaq can't be much. He must be about the same height as Loris, right?
A little bit shorter, maybe. He's like 7 foot or something, right?
Yeah. So I mean, if Shaq can get on a horse, Loris can get on a horse.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
going to be riding it for like 2 days straight.
The horse just want to kill itself by the end of that.
Bring in exhaustion rules for the horses.
Yeah.
Octoboss says that's a taxidermied horse. It's like
missing a limb.
Metal poles up its legs to make sure it doesn't topple. Yikes.
Yeah.
I think it's just, as always, comes back to a conversation of how granular do you want it to be, I guess.
What do you,
How many
in regards-
calculations do you want to work into your adventure? Is it some or is it many?
Lots.
We should have
Okay.
like the horse riding Loris.
No.
If once you get to a certain height,
Just Laura's holding it like a big dog. Just like,
yeah,
Aw.
and that's because it's got a backpack on the horse.
Yeah.
Scale them up. I don't know what's the max weight that a horse can carry, because it's not even
European horse or an African horse?
Like, fuck if I know.
African horse? What? I didn't even know there was such a
Sorry.
thing.
A freaking
Sorry,
horse.
that's a Monty Python joke, but they're European swallow or African
Yeah.
swallow. That's,
Yeah.
sorry.
Never apologize for a Monty Python joke.
No.
Never. I don't know. Have we rounded out our conversation? Is that a good look at optional rules and what makes listening to us or D&D in general fun? Is that it?
Not losing limbs makes D&D fun.
For you guys.
Well,
yeah.
unless there's a dramatic reason for
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
I think I'm fine with it if it's like a cool thing
Yeah.
Yeah.
or a choice, a harrowing choice or something like that, you know, something
have
to
to
do
be
with the
real
story.
big, yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like another random encounter that just
Yeah, I
sidetracks
don't-
stuff.
Just like a derailing thing just for the sake of being edgy. Not into it. But yeah, like you say, if it's interesting or has a point, that's all good.
Yeah. That sounds
But back
good.
to that horse real quick though. How tall how tall does the horse have to be? How many apples does it eat a day?
I thought you were going to
Roll
say how
for
many apples
apples.
high. I thought you were going to say how many apples high is it? You know, like how they measure Smurfs in apples, and there was like 3 apples high.
They do?
But they don't look fucking 3 apples high. They must be.
Wait a
tiny
minute.
apples.
Wait. Who said they measure them in apples?
That's
Where's
in the
the-
Smurfs song or some shit.
Hey, everybody, get your 3 apple Smurf.
They're 3 apples. I don't know. It's Smurf lore.
I don't know. What? It's in this song?
3 apples, that's tiny.
Maybe it's not in the
Wow.
song. It's not in the song, but it's in the intro or something. I just remember I'm always going there. 3 apples high. It's like bullshit.
I'm just
What kind of apples have you got?
I'm just
They're like 3
Googling.
cherries high.
So,
What makes you think that they're that big or small? 'Cause
Wait.
I don't have any reference.
I just
Well, they live in
Googled.
mushrooms.
I Googled how many
did
apples
they?
high is a Smurf. And it's just come back saying 3 apples tall.
Confirmed.
I mean,
3 apples. Wow.
That's big. I never
pretty-
thought that a
So-
Smurf would be that big. Like, yeah, 1, 2.
Yeah.
all right. What is the
That's a big
source?
fucking-
What is the source of 3 apples high?
My head is like 3 apples high.
Apple sauce. We need an apple sauce.
Someone
So
made an
according-
error in the translation. but it's
Oh,
stuck.
okay.
Oh.
So I've just done a Google search on
Well,
how
I
big a
can-
horse would need to be to carry someone Loris's weight. It says I should avoid riding a pony, a lightweight riding horse, a full-size sport horse. Basically, I'm looking for a medium build horse, bigger than 17 hands high, or a draft horse.
Okay. So slow horse, slow but steady war horse or something,
Yeah.
right?
Basically.
I think we should make it canon that when Loris gets on a horse, he has the biggest smile as Shaq there. He's like loving it.
He's like so proud.
I'm on a horse.
And there's always like a rando white lady with him looking also very proud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got him on a horse. Then when I had
She's
to
just like,
lower him on with
I
the
couldn't.
crane.
This is what,
Could you imagine that moment when Loris puts like one foot into one of the stirrups and then just like pushes down to get over?
The horse is
Damn.
True.
Damn, just hearing the spine of the thing slowly creaking.
Loris
Well,
would
exactly.
drop from the top of a building or something, all right? You know, like one of those,
Right on, you know.
just jump on, like, oh, I saw this in a movie.
Yeah.
It's only 150 something kilos dropping from a great height.
By the way, so it's a saying. There's a French saying which translates to 3 apples high, but it's a saying that means it's small.
Oh, is that right? It's
Yeah.
like an idiom.
Yeah, and it just got mistranslated to they are 3 apples tall.
3 apples high
That
is
is
not
brilliant.
small, though.
That's pretty decent.
3 apples. Like,
Like,
What kind of, no, I got some apples downstairs.
yeah, they're big.
oh really?
go
Yeah.
get them immediately.
Go on,
I've
show
got
us.
2 apples
I'm gonna put it in the
and a
Discord.
nectarine.
Oh, that's like 2.5, 2 3/4.
Like it's not really an accurate measure of anything because apples differ.
We should have a.
Talking
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I know. I
Talking
saw a giant apple.
That is a good.
once.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
like Big Granny Smiths, or we're talking like the little Brayburn kind of things.
sometimes you can
Did
just.
American make a giant apple?
I did.
Yeah. Sometimes you can just take them off the tree before they're
off
fully
camera.
grown as well. Those are pretty small.
Yeah, like the little crab apples.
Yeah, crab
They're
apple,
like
that's
really
what I
tiny.
thought.
There you go. So maybe there are 3 apples, just crab apples.
I do think that we should be playing a Smurf RPG.
Gosh.
But, I mean, you're
Yeah.
well. That's you can do the next.
I'm like, I wonder which character
well-
I play.
brains.
Yeah. I
Brainy
smurf
or whatever
you.
his name is.
You smurf this, you smurf that.
Do you
Like,
know
every second word would be
Smurfette used to be bad. You know that? She's the only one that's created by Gargamel, and she had black hair. She was evil, and she was made to infiltrate the Smurfs, and then she turned good somehow, and then her hair went blonde.
Gargamel knew what he was up to.
Yeah.
He knew how to get someone into the Smurf
and-
village.
A bunch of blokes running around. Oh well, clearly they need a woman in their lives.
Well, what would they have thought? It's like, what's this deformed Smurf?
Yeah, they'd be like, what is this?
What-
I've never
welcome
seen
to
such
Ultra
a thing.
What's wrong with this Smurf?
Like,
But they're
do
so
I like
nice.
this? Or
They're
do I
very inclusive.
Yeah.
Mm.
Can you imagine though running around with a character like who like so Happy Smurf? He has to be constantly happy, or what's
It helped with
Gifty
roleplay.
who's constantly going on about how strong he is,
Yeah.
or Brainy Smurf
Grumpy.
basically telling everyone how brainy he is.
Dave, Loris kept telling everyone how strong and big he is. So, I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
it was,
it's not too much of a role
Yeah, but
play.
I'm not a Smurf. I'm a 7'3" Goliath. Come on now.
he looks like
There's a
Smurf.
difference.
I mean,
Just
how many
makes the
apples
hat.
high? How many apples high is Loris? Like 4 or 5? Come on.
You sure?
That hurt. It's the invisible
That
pain.
was endlessly hurtful, actually.
He's not 4 apples.
He's at least
Well,
20.
7.
God damn it.
I'll give you 4 apples. Let me know.
There's a whole
That's a threat.
stack of apples.
I'm imagining like some photoshopped image of like Shaq next to some apples now.
7 apples high.
Add one more to this guy.
Just Google how many apples high is Shaq.
Oh,
Oh, man.
I hope there's an apple to measurement converter somewhere.
Reminds me of when we couldn't figure out feet when playing Dungeons and Dragons, and
Oh, yeah.
and we had to just change it to hippopotamuses because that was more understandable. It was like 10 feet is like 1 hippo, so like 5 feet is half a hippo, and then
Right.
you can understand it.
Yeah, feet's a tough one because we don't deal with feet here.
No,
And 5 meters is drastically larger than 5 foot.
Mm.
It's a tough one. What's 5 foot? That's like 1.5 meters or something?
half a hippo.
7 something.
7 what? Apples?
7 apples. No. I put it like 1.7 meters, I think.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh.
Because 3 foot is a meter or something, yeah. So, yeah, around about. Oh, yeah. So we're just going to stick with feet because it just, I don't know.
It's a
know.
number. That's
Makes
all.
it so abstract for me, but that's fine. The whole thing's fantasy. May as well
Yeah,
have a
the same way.
fantasy measurement.
In my mind, 5 foot's like that square on the grid.
Yeah, yeah.
That's literally all 5 foot is. It's like, okay, cool. Unless you say the grid's bigger. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just imagine 5 foot is like a short person. A very short person, I guess.
Yeah, medium. How tall is Danny DeVito?
He's
He's,
4 foot.
he's under 5. He must be 4 foot, so he's officially a dwarf.
Yeah.
How
He's
many
like 4
apples
foot 7 or
is
4
Danny
foot 9 or something. He's pretty small. But I remember seeing like an image of like what 5
1.47 meters.
fucking
Yeah, little.
how many feet is that?
I know.
Well, how many apples?
4'10" is Danny DeVito.
Okay.
Little.
Yeah, I saw an image that showed what like 5 foot looks like with 5 foot reach, because that's normally what your person has 5 foot of reach for melee, right?
Mm.
Yeah, I wonder if I can find that again and send that out. But that was interesting. It kind of made sense. Yeah, it looked awesome. So I'll have to send that through. It's pretty cool.
We've got like the Vitruvian Man.
Do I have to bring it up? I'll bring it up now since we're talking about it. Visualization
5 foot reach is quite a...
of a 5-foot D&D. That'll work, surely.
5 foot D&D.
Yeah.
What have you googled?
I said visual representation of a D&D. A 5-foot D&D.
How tall is the D&D?
Is this going to open view image? God damn this.
Octopus says Kylie Minogue's 5 foot tall, so maybe use her.
Oh, how many Kylies?
How many Kylies? All right, I'm going to chuck another thing in the chat now. And then I'll bring it up as well. Is it? What the hell is going on with the world right now? Come on. No, that didn't do anything.
I'm just going to go back to look at that picture of Shaq.
I had to close it. It was mesmerizing.
I know it
Yeah.
is. There's so much going on.
So happy.
They're both so proud, and but like you say, the horse is so like soulless in the eyes. Like it's
Yeah, you just make it stop.
yeah.
Oh, man.
There's no way of screaming.
I can't get out of this picture. Also, the way the lady's like shirt is going over her pants is super weird.
Really?
What? What?
I think it's photoshopped. They put add pants
Super
on.
weird. There's like points coming up out of her. I can't describe it.
I'm going back to
It's
it.
getting snagged on 2 pointy bits on her
Oh,
body.
yeah. She's got really pointy hips.
There's another one of him
Does
on
it look like she's got a massive boner?
What? What's going on?
It shit does.
It looks like she's
I'm
got a
like,
massive
use it.
boner.
Oh,
But she's also like hiding a dagger at her hip or
Alright.
something and it's pushing her shirt up.
It
Serious
does kind of
calico
look like
and
it's...
a boner.
Jesus Christ.
What a lethal combo.
All right, oh my god! I've seen another image in the chat to show what like a 5-foot square looks like.
Okay.
That's less interesting.
Yeah.
It does. It's not Shaq with a lady with a boner. Sure.
oh.
I don't know. I'm sure if we look closer. What's with his tattoo?
Well, that's not really the
It's like a
point of it.
smear.
I don't know what that tattoo is.
I'm back on the Shaq picture.
Of course. Of course. I give up.
Don't zoom into that strange lump. Oh, she's wearing a watch. You can tell what time it is.
Yeah, it's 12. It's 12 o'clock by the looks of things. You don't need a watch for that.
Early in the morning. All right.
Interesting.
All right.
So 5 foot isn't really that big. I'm just trying to distract from the horse.
Yeah,
Tell
that.
that to this lady.
Oh dear.
Viewer count is dropping as
Yeah,
we
dropping.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta go.
Yeah,
I'm
we
happy.
got to It's time. It's time to get going. But did you at least take a look at that 5-foot square thing?
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
take a look at that?
Good on him.
Yes,
Boring.
we did.
Okay.
It wasn't as exciting as the
No, it
horse.
was not as exciting as looking at Shaq. A picture of Shaq on a horse.
Well, the lady stole the show. In the end.
A little distracting.
Yeah.
And hid it in her pants.
I'm back.
Oh boy, you're back on there. You're back on there. She's printing it out. She's printing it out, everyone.
But how good is Shaq's posture?
I know.
Better than the horses.
And the way he's tucked his chin in so proudly.
He is
And
a
he's
star
been
athlete.
responsible enough to wear a helmet, which I also respect.
Yeah. Even though if he
Everything's
fell
on the
off,
up and up.
he could just if he fell off, he'd just land on his feet, right? Like his feet would touch the ground before he fell over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he a cat or something?
He's just so tall. It's like it'd be
Shaq's-
like riding a bike and then you just lean the bike over.
I
and your
just-
foot goes in the ground.
I'm just imagining him just forcefully leaning the horse over.
Like dropping down the stand.
Well, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
The lady's the one with the
Okay.
kickstand, so.
Oh. What's up?
All right. Well, I think we'll leave it there. I think leave it on a really high note.
Oh yeah, quality.
Thanks to everybody for the support tonight. We've had a couple of subs from people, which was fantastic. Those kind of things are just so cool. And if you've got Twitch Prime, it's a free sub for us. If you get one a month that you can just throw somewhere. So we are hungry for it. No. Thank you for thank you, Rhino Hide and Rhino Hide, Electric Bob, and Wendigo's Gone Wild. Thank you for the follows tonight. And if you've been watching and like what we've been doing, definitely give us a follow. We will be going live next week with Curse of Strahd, the first session of the Curse of Strahd campaign, which is going to be incredibly cool. We've got all of our previous campaign and all of our previous sessions on YouTube. Go give us a follow there because we're getting a lot of people watching our stuff, but our following numbers so disappointing. But the link's down there. Just give us a follow on there because it's depressing. It depresses me every morning when I look at that. We're so close to 100 subscribers on YouTube. Get us over 100. That'd be amazing. What I'll do just before we go as well is I'm just going to show. You'll see it all next week. But if you're not there for next week, and it's already on our Twitter and stuff anyway, here's a little look at the new intro for the Curse of Strahd Getting Dicey Season 2.
Getting dicey.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm loving it. Thank you for the new logo, Shannon. It looks amazing.
Well, temporary logo. It's a special edition logo, right?
Yeah. It's like we're still going to use the other one for a bunch of other things. But for the Strahd campaign, we'll throw that up. But yeah, anyway, thank you, everybody. We'll be next week at the same time. I did it wrong. What was I meant to say, Baron? Let me just say,
What?
See you next time at the same time.
That's so catchy. See you next time at the same time.
At the same time. Love you all. Kisses.